I'll praise you, Most High. Yeah, that sound good, y'all. Hello. What we doing?
Hey, cook that up, Khalid.
We still getting to the money, got these haters in they feel. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this shit, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they feel. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this shit, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still. They said you got the call, they trying to blackball you. Like what they own, bro. You can't blackball a boss. The whole world, they hate Israel. The way you hate your neighbor, might as well pull the trigger on yourself. You know we get excited by the smoke. Every day we casting flesh. Say my treasure stored in heaven, we gon' blow the rest. They disrespected and we check the bank that causing kept it still. They asking others about my business, but I ain't got no instant miss. See, I still deal with ox direct. Cause your person don't mean you respect. Your outlet don't get no credit if the ox ain't in it. Money answer all things and you got all these questions. Playing Vic, look, I employ slavery. I'll give you broke your head. Yo, them crews in the hood, Jews in the hood. I caught them clues, now I'm good. I broke it down, he understood my all to you. Filtered through, you found a few, I'm good. We what we sold, this here exclusive. They like, hey, folk, look what you doing. We still getting to the money, got these haters in they feel. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they feel. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still. Most I told me be still, give a room to work. Know my movie work. Your faith ain't good, don't put the work in. In the spirit flexing, that my day job. Getting the mode out my own, I don't know what they are. Before I got the blueprint, and I'm too legit to quit. Let it spark in the dark, be a light, got it lit. Trying to map my movement, got my haters pondering. The odds set the question there, they wanna know if you still lit. It hit different, you authentic, a lot of odds pretending. We do it for the Lord, got my own motion, who are you to judge? Put most high first, none above. Tap in the spirit, we locked in, they'll come against your plot. You know Judas said, yeah, we spit them scripts, they barely now. Came on slave ships and you not black. You know they tell you everything. Isaiah 30:20, yeah, we bad. You see what happened when they tried to rail the train up off the track. False witness, hypocrite. We throw shots back, now they feel hit. Must go get it. We still getting to the money, got these haters in they feel. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they feel. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still.
Yeah. Most High told me to be still. He got this. He said, my enemies is my footstool. I got this. I'm the Most High. Let me handle this, JJ. Don't get mad because they talking about me. That's what he told me. You know, that's what the Most High said. Welcome to the Lion's Den, man. That's a beautiful song. I love it. And I want to welcome everybody out there in the audience. You know what I'm saying? We back again. You know, we got the queen in the building, La Heifer, you know, Karima. Go ahead and introduce yourself, queen.
Shalom, peace, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you at, whatever it do for you. That's Brother Kana. He's on Facebook, he's on YouTube. He also have merchandise, so check him out.
Right, that brother going in. What's his name again, Karima?
Akana.
Akana.
And he got the miniature little dogs too. So if y'all interested in getting them too, he got them.
He got the Yorkies?
No, he have the what is them little pugs?
Poodles?
The pugs.
Oh, the pugs.
Miniature pugs.
All right. Yeah, well, welcome to the den, everybody, man. Yesterday we did some teachings. It was kind of like some Sunday school lessons. Israelite style. I enjoyed the Sunday school lesson. Ain't nothing wrong with Sunday school lesson. On
Sunday, oh no, you got somebody else on the panel.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, I'm finna introduce him. He projecting around. They call him the astral projection guy. Hey, sometimes he roots for JJ, and sometimes I see him trolling and doing his thing. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
How y'all doing? I'm Astral Projections. Let me turn this down so we don't have an echo. I apologize about that. Yeah, I just hopped in the chat. I just got on the computer and y'all was live, man. How y'all doing today?
Man, you doing good? Yes.
Doing amazing. I want to see this debate that they got coming up, man. I want to see how Tazariak handles Chris Harris.
Yeah, man.
He didn't want to hear me say that.
I feel sorry for Chris Harris. I do. I just do, man. Tazariak, do you understand, brother? Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Is Burger King and McDonald's similar?
Oh, it depends on how deep you're looking. On the surface, they would appear to be the same.
They would appear to be the same. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. But there's a lot of differentiations. See, that's a new word I made up. Differentiations. Your Negro dictionary. You know what I mean? There's a lot of differences. There's what? The differences outweigh the similarities. Would you say that, sir?
I agree.
All right. Now, let me ask you one more question, Mr. Projection. Would you say that Jesus and Horus have a lot of similarities?
I would say they have some. I don't know. A lot is a form of measurement. And when you say the word a lot, it would have to be a lot compared to what?
A lot. See, that's even more. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, I'll say they have some similarities. There are some things that you could say are similar. To take that and say it's copied, that's a whole nother argument or debate. I don't know if I'm ready for that one today.
Bring it out, astral projection. Now, see, this is what I'm saying, though. So, if you say there's not too many things that's alike, how do Chris Harris win this debate?
Oh, you know what's funny? I've seen Chris Harris. I'm not sure what I was watching from him. It was on Sonetter. I think he was rebuttaling somebody on his own show. And he was dropping all of the stuff that was copied. So it's. I feel like I've already seen what he's about to present.
Right. You see. Okay. Well. Okay. Now listen. Mm-hmm. All these different. What would we call these? Communities. Different cultures. Yeah. So you got to stay in the cultural context of things. See, these different cultures live by each other. Some of these different cultures, what they did business and trade together. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of things, then some of them conquered each other. And they took on some of their similarities.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a friend who explained it like that. And he said it's not so much theft that when you're in close proximity to each other.
Close proximity. Great word for today. Proximity is the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
When you're in a close proximity to each other, you're going to pick up things from other people. And he was explaining, like, imagine if like you're a European and you have this shitty ass story for your God, and you come across some Africans and their shit just sounds so dope. He was like, you may take pieces of that and update what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much plagiarism. It's more a reverence for the greatness of what was going on before. But still, when you don't pay homage and give credit, then that's when it can be considered that.
Oh, shit. Sister Nanny said, not a good example, JJ. Burger King, McDonald's are not only the same, but also owned by the same people. Well, goddamn.
Well, they similar in the like to run. They similar into having other people jump into their discussion to save them. So yeah, they got a lot of similarities. So as far as
I see what you're saying though, just because both restaurants have a burger doesn't make the burger the same. I get where you're going with the reference.
Yeah. But Nandy said that they owned by the same folks. Just like you think you're getting something different with the Democrats and Republicans, they on the same team. I get that part. But that's
they both use buns and meat.
But what'd you say? What'd you say, Queen?
I said they both use buns and meat.
Yes, okay, we're gonna leave Burger King down alone though. But yeah, no, that kind of threw me off a little bit. Where was we at? Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying, cultures cross connect, they do business and trade together, right?
Mm-hmm.
The title of this debate is the Jesus Christ story came from Kemet.
That's the title of the debate, the Jesus Christ story.
That is the title of the debate.
Now, the title is very important because the title lets you position yourself in the debate. So let me think about that. Was Jesus Christ copied from Kemet?
Whoa, wait. Well, let me get this title correct.
Yeah, say it again for me.
The story of Jesus Christ came from Kemet. All right. Now, when the story first breaks out, it came out of Bethlehem, ladies and gentlemen. See, if we want to play with titles, we can do that. The story did not come out of Egypt. Am I right, Astro Production? Did it come out of Bethlehem or Egypt? That's my first question.
Well, I mean, are we going Old Testament? Are we talking Moses? Where are you starting the story? Are we starting from Genesis? Did it doesn't come out of
right? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where are you starting it at? Because my understanding, how can he start somewhere he went into?
Yeah, so. I mean, honestly, if you're starting Old Testament, I almost want to say it does start in Egypt. Moses is the Pharaoh's son. He sees a Hebrew being slain, et cetera, et cetera. If you go back to Genesis, you could say it started in space.
No.
I don't know.
I got to stop you.
Yeah, correct me.
These stories are passed down. In order for Moses to even know about these stories, they had to have been passed down to him.
Okay.
Right? So we're not going to do this. And then Moses didn't say nothing about no Jesus Christ.
No
word.
Not at all.
All right. So let's just retrack it and start over.
Okay. We're talking about Jesus specifically.
Sweet mother Jesus, grab a wheel Jesus.
No? Sweet baby Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, sweet baby Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus. I think we would have to start with his birth. We would have to start with his birth. So I guess you could say Bethlehem.
You damn right. The brother, he was born in Bethlehem. Well, before we continue into this saga, we got one of the old school lions there. One of the guys there from day one. I'm talking about Yasha, the lion. Go ahead, Ak.
Hey, shalom, family. What's a good word? I just came to jump in and be nosy real quick. I got some time on my hands.
Right, you know how we do, man. We sit up here talking about how Tazar actually had this pretty easy, really, to win this debate with Chris Harris as far as did Jesus Christ come from Egypt?
Well, you got to remember something, too. And I mean, right. Well, you got to remember, too. And I think a lot of brothers try to just, downplay this. Every religion or every ethnic group wants to have a Messiah because
You breaking up, family.
I love them. Let's just keep it 100. So you look at all these ethnic groups, Indians, Arabs, we can go down the list of all these different tribes that come from, Africa or even Asia. They all have some type of religion that represents a Messiah coming because they're jealous. And, because Christianity got whitewashed the way it did so hard, everybody wants to have their own version of a Messiah. So I was seeing the jokes I was making just a couple minutes ago. It really got to start with Joseph. Joseph was in Egypt first, and then we could go from there. Way before Moses even thought about even going into Egypt. This was dealing with Joseph and his descendants first, and then we go into Moses.
Shit.
So I just want to throw that in there real quick.
Abraham went up to Egypt too.
Right. A lot of Hebrews, this will get me upset. A lot of Hebrew, before the second Pharaoh took over, according to our biblical text, I'm not talking about historical events or, whatever. We're talking about the biblical narrative.
Didn't know us.
Right. The original Pharaoh didn't have problems with the Hebrews. He actually took care of us and had us in royalty. It was the Pharaoh after, right? You know, so a lot of Hebrews don't talk about that, and that's what get me upset, because whether we agree on doctrinal differences or not, you got to give flowers what flowers is due. There was a time when the Hebrews was worshipped as a great people in that land. Now, when you went to those, what you say, JJ?
I was telling Cube to jump on.
You know, so the thing, what gets me upset is we want to, you know, again, we want to get so far away from the African, you know, narrative. But let's understand something. The land of Canaan is where? In Africa, which became our territory.
Right.
So what get me upset is, like, you know, everybody want to run away from Africa. Okay, if you want to say the name, but the continent itself, you can't run from that. That's our land. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I get mad when brothers want to act so scholarly, but they so goddamn.
Right. All right, the brother must be going through a tunnel or something down there out there in New York. We got another brother on the panel. Go ahead and introduce yourself. I don't know your name. You got an S on there. I don't know if that's for Superman or Sucker. Oh, there you go. Okay, Armand Anu Nefa. Welcome to the Lions Den. We'll get right back to you, Yasha. I want to introduce his brother.
Yeah, I got you. I got disconnected. Good.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings, family.
Peace and blessings.
I just signed on, so I ain't catch what the topic of the debate was, but I caught a piece of it talking about the Christian narrative or something like that, the Christ or something, if I'm correct.
Yeah, peace, J. State.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, your okay. Are you a Christian, a Muslim? Let's start there first. So
okay. Now, I grew up with a Christian family, but I no longer identify as a Christian. I'm more focus on individual spirituality. So
okay. All right. But let me ask you this: during your time in the church, where was Jesus born? Where did the story of Jesus come from? I'm just gonna ask you that first.
Well, the story of Jesus, as it was taught to me, was he was born in Bethlehem, Jerusalem.
All right, stop right there.
Yeah.
So if we have a title of a debate saying that the story of Jesus came from Egypt or Kemet, would that person win or lose?
Well,
what?
Well, different sources saying different things about the whole story.
Okay,
but
wait a minute now. I asked you, where did the story come from?
Oh, the biblical story. The biblical story says Jerusalem or Bethlehem.
Okay, so
are you a Chris supporter?
What, Christine?
No, he's not. I don't think when he said Christine, I don't think he is. But here's the thing.
Chris Harris. Are you a Chris Harris supporter? It's okay. We don't have no problem, but I'm just asking.
No, Kitty. Just to let you know, I suffer from ADHD, so it's hard to keep thoughts together.
Okay,
at time. So I have a speech impediment and stuff, but that's what I'll be dealing with. But the story, I would say, from my understanding, is that the story about this Christ coming and saving the world or reuniting man with God or going to heaven and stuff, it's not it never started with Christianity per se. I mean, the oldest record we have would have been said in Kemet, but the specific story of the Bible.
Well, you just slipped something in, man. You can wait. Now wait a minute. You ain't gonna run that by old JJ. I mean, I might got a little extra wax in my ear that I gotta clean out a little extra. When you get older, you get extra wax in your ear. You gotta clean your ear out a little more. But I heard something. You said something about it started in Kemet. Did you just say that? Hold on, Pseudo Killer. I'm going to get you in here. Now, You just said he was born in where? Was he born in Kemet or was he born in Bethlehem?
Now I'm talking like the concept, not the specific individual.
That ain't the title of the goddamn debate. The title
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
And then no, we going by title. But I'm gonna get back to
the
you.
title. Well, the title you gotta say Bethlehem.
You goddamn right. All right, but we got a pseudo killer in the building, man. I don't know. The other night I was on Smash's channel, and I hooked up with a pseudo killer. Oh, that's Unc. That's Unc West. But I hooked up with Brendan, and me and him kicked some ass. Did you see? Yo, you was there for that, wasn't you?
I was there.
That's the return of sacrifice. I think you was kind of on the fence. But
I wasn't on the fence. I started the conversation.
Okay, well, what was your position on that, family?
That they did human sacrifices.
You're damn right. Okay.
For the afterlife.
Yeah, see? But we have some guys in denial over their cognitive dissonance. You know.
Oh, I mean, that's part of the human experience. If they real people, they're going to do real things.
Right.
If they fake people, they're going to float across the air and do all that. But since they was real humans, that's part of human folklore and part of man's oldest traditions. You find it all over the world. It is what it is. So yeah, the Jesus story, you got to take it what it says. It says he was born in Bethlehem.
There you go.
It's not even I wouldn't debate that. That's crazy.
That's you setting yourself up for failure with that title.
Yeah.
A smart debate like you and I, we figured this shit out in the opening statement. Then we say this debate over. Now it's time for me just to teach. You know, that's what you do.
Yeah, that's not a real. And as far as the diversion, birth, and all that. Human beings don't need people from Africa or people from Kemet to tell them to breastfeed their babies. You know what I'm saying? To show a statue of a breastfeeding baby and all that. Don't nobody need nobody to tell it. Women instinctively know, this is how you feed your baby, especially in those times. So I don't know. I never thought that Christianity directly came from it. Christianity was a Jewish sect at one time. It was part of the Hebrew tradition.
That's right.
And then it broke away. So you have to follow suit.
Follows Christ.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a big deal. The issues I always have is like that story applies to those groups of human beings right there. It's not a world story. It was made to be a world story, but at the time of its inception, those particular individuals had no idea about the rest of the continents. Right. Egypt neither. They couldn't have told you about North America, Australia. They couldn't have told you about none of that. South America, they wouldn't have known. So sometimes, I always say read the book with a daggone map, man. It's a good read, but you read a map, learn geography, and then keep everything in its proper perspective.
Got something. Can I jump in real quick? Yeah, how you doing? Nice finally being able to speak with you. I never thought I would see myself challenging or going against anything you said, but I think they had knowledge of the other land masses back then.
The other what?
The other land masses. You were saying they didn't have any knowledge of South America.
Oh. Yeah. You just explain to me how. I'm listening. I'm all ears.
You might be in some trouble.
I'm just all ears.
If I'm going to do that, I'll have to go in and bring up some sources, but that's not something I'll do while we're discussing it.
Off the top of your head, I'm good. Just give me off the top of your head. What make you think?
In a few minutes, I'll pull up like some of the older maps and see, and we'll go over some of the dates. But the point that I did want to make was about the Chris Harris and Tazariak debate. I don't think Chris Harris is going to go in debating specifics. Like that would be a good position. I see how JJ was positioning.
I light him up.
Yeah, that would be a good way to position yourself in the debate to try to make him focus on specifics. And if he entertains that, he's going to lose. I think that if he shows that concepts and themes were copied from Kemet, that's something that he can definitely prove. If you look up the definition for a concept or thing, I think I have concept pulled up right here. A concept is an abstract idea or general notion. So a general notion that's easy to copy. Themes and motifs are what Chris Harris is going to be trying to show or copy from Kemet. I doubt if he goes into specifics.
When did Horus feed 5,000 people with information?
I like that.
Food information, whatever you want to call it. Show me the record where Horus was teaching on the mount. You know what I'm saying?
I like
when
that.
when did horse come up and heal the blind? I want to see it. See, that's how I would come at it.
Now, see, I think he's going
I
to
can show
try
you some
to.
similarities, but I got more differences that outweigh the similarities, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You see
Now,
how
see,
I do it up? You see, I'm a debate consultant now, so
I
don't
see
beat
how
them up.
you doing.
I just consult. Go ahead,
Let me ask you a question. So you
Yeah.
got a map? You got a 3,500 BC map
Astro.
hold on. I'm
of
on
the
Google
planet
right.
Earth?
I'm on Google right now. Talk about something else
Really?
for 2 minutes while I
What
look
you
up something.
doing?
And if I stand corrected, you
Yeah,
know, if I'm
stop.
wrong,
Stop it.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yo, you funny with that one, boy. Oh man. I'll debate that. Me and you. I'll debate.
Hold on. I'm not saying I'm ready for a debate. I'm not saying I'm ready for a
Okay,
debate.
all right. Oh
We're
man.
building today. We're building. We're learning
We
together.
building, man. I just think the title is too easy for a debater like me.
Man, I want the sister. How the sister doing? I didn't speak to you. I apologize.
Go ahead,
How you doing today, sis?
I'm doing good. King, what's good with you?
I'm good, pretty good. Good to hear from you.
That's right. Same here.
All right.
Yeah, hey, Unc seen me in action yesterday, and then
Good job.
hold up, and then when the people say, "Yeah, I agree with JJ," Unc said, "What? Y'all agree with JJ?" Hey, man, I'm a universal type of guy, man. See, them non-Israelites, I'm over there. See, you know what I'm saying? I connect with the world. See, that's the difference between me and some of these other cats. It's okay though, man. It's gonna be okay.
You did a good job. That video was
Hold on. They watching you, Unc, on Bingo. Yeah, you known over there.
Where they at? They watching where?
Bingo.
Video. What's it called? Vimo.
Rigo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's another app.
Okay. All right.
Now, did you say I did a good job?
Yeah, you did a good job. Yeah, I can't believe it. You did a good job, brought a good source. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, man. You see, I've been telling y'all this stuff 5 years ago. Now they're catching up. And then I told them something the other day. They did. Oh no! I said, okay, 5 years from now, y'all gonna be. I'm gonna say, I told you 5 years ago. What you got up your sleeve, Mark? What you got going, man? You got anything upcoming?
I was getting my daily Bible dose. You know, I always tune in to y'all. You know that, man. You know I'm a fan of the show, man.
You said you was writing a book, didn't you? Didn't you say something like that?
I got 2 books in the works. Absolutely. 2 good books. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, so that's just putting something in print, man, some quality work in print. Gotta do it. You know, everybody can't do it. So I've been doing it for probably the last 3 years I've been working on these projects. I don't got the overnight thing. You know, mine, well researched, and I think everybody can get something out of it. I'm not, I'm not bashing the Bible. Yeah, the book's consistent. Yeah, it ain't doing nothing. I want everybody to get a good, healthy understanding of the world again. And no, I'm not. So if you can be religious, you can read what I'm putting down. Yeah.
And can you turn on your camera for the eyes? They want to know if this is the real Unc West. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be the only bald head guy on the camera today. You know, there we go. See, we make bald head look good. See, Chris, take off your hat, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it, man. The little patches and stuff, you gotta you do something with it, cornball it up or something, but you're gonna have to do something different. What's up, Unc?
Oh man, he said take off his hat. He won't never take that hat off.
Oh man, come on, man. So we're gonna do the Chris Harris Take Your Hat Off challenge on my next episode over here, man.
Oh, that's funny, yo.
What you think about that?
Well, you funny, man. I'm gonna leave that man alone on that.
All right, let me ask you this since I got you over here.
So, what you need to know?
What do Chris Harris teach?
I don't know. He mixed a few things together. You know, I'm strictly scientific literacy.
Right.
Yeah, you can believe what you want to believe. I'm good.
Technology, engineering, and mathematics type of guy.
Yeah. I think that could be a good foundation. Along with whatever religion you practicing, if that's how you want to do it, I see no harm in that. Matter of fact,
so you said an Israelite can be a part of your organization then?
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to. If you want to build your own nation, you're gonna have to have some technology and science. You have to be able to get the water from one place to another. You're gonna have the right grade, the right type of materials. All that's got to be. Yeah, you're gonna have to know when to do it, when to plant the crops, how to do it. Man, like you have to go to college. These days, we go to college for farming, agriculture. That's a science.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if your food production, how to get it out the field in the best time, cutting costs, all that. I mean, then how you gonna protect yourself? So yeah, there's no getting away from science. You can, you believe what you believe, but there's no getting away from that. Matter of fact, the world we're in is ran by science, and you got people who can misuse science. All that's in the game. Half of the scientists are religious. That's not the issue. The issue is when you try to mix it and make things. My only problem is when people try to make like the Quran scientific or the Bible scientific. I was always at the mindset that it did. Why would God need science? Like I wouldn't understand that. I just wouldn't understand it.
And that's why I'm here. See, I'm a consultant now, so you don't have to fear the things I say. I'm not debating them.
Oh, that's funny.
Can I say something?
Okay, science is catching up to God. I just want to put that out there. But go ahead. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later in my dissertation. Who want to go next? I heard.
You were right. I couldn't find a map, so I stand corrected on that. But I have no business bringing feelings to a debate. But I just feel like if the Dogon tribe knew about these stars, their orbit, if they can align these pyramids to stars, that they had knowledge of what was going on.
Right.
But I can't bring forth documentation showing that. So I just wanted to
okay. Okay, so let me help you out even more. So no, the Dogon didn't see what you thought they seen. They didn't see it.
Okay, teach.
Okay, because you're talking about a white dwarf, Cyrus B. The white dwarf. And what I'm saying is they didn't have your five senses that we have are very, very poor in science. And this is counterintuitive. Okay? So you would have to develop a microscope. You know what I'm saying? A telescope. Right? If you want to see bacteria, you got to develop a microscope. Right? If you want to see that far in the sky, what they're claiming they saw, matter of fact, they didn't even claim they saw it. It was Europeans that came in and claimed they saw it. That's not actually in Dogon tradition. Right? Because you got certain Dogons that never even heard of that. Okay? Next point. The line of the pyramids. They was working on it. Right? There's certain things, stars they was close to. They had a good working knowledge of it because you can go to about 6,000 BCE, the oldest astronomical clock, and not the playa. You can look that up right now. So that's feasible. So, but watch this. They had a tool, right? And what was the tool? The tool was called the star clocks, right? Those microliths, those big stones, right? And their alignment. So those stones help them to align to the stars. So that's actually a tool. So before you get to that tool, how much work do you got to do to be able to even do that? So nature doesn't give you anything. You only can graduate after passing certain stages. So for instance, if you don't understand flight, you could never build a plane to fly. You would have to get that. You would have to understand gravity and levity first. For you to drive a car, you would have to first develop roads, right? You got to have a covered wagon. You got to have a chariot. You got to have the wheel first. You don't just dive to an electric car. You do not dive out the window with a Tesla. You know what I'm saying? You need that Model T. You need the early civilizations. Egypt didn't even have chariots. They had to get that from who? From the Hittites, right? From the Hyksos that came in with the war chariot, right? So we trade, we commerce. Business of the day. You add to your own technology, like China, the chips, the mouse that we use for the computer, right? China took that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of times we jump out of the window because we don't understand what science is, right? And as a matter of fact, modern science ain't ancient. You know what I'm saying? So human beings have come a long way from just having religion, because for the majority of human existence, we've been here 350,000 years, right? We've basically been, I would safely say, religious. We have been religious longer than we have been scientific.
Teach them.
Well,
see,
I'll
over
say
here,
something.
Thank
see, hold on, real quick. See, over here, Unc is around the spirit, so that makes him speaks the truth. Proud of you, Unc. Unc has never really been a biased guy, though. I will give him that. That's why I deals with Unc West. before we get into it, we got Babylon Dunn in the building. He's a former. Oh no, he is a new YB. He is a new YB, and him and Kansu. Go ahead, brother. Babylon Dunn.
Man, why you always announce me as that? Bro, hold on one second.
What's going on?
He in linguistics.
I'm just letting everybody know we got people from all walks of life. We got an atheist over here, some dude astral projecting around. We got goddamn Babylon Dunn, you know. Some milk pot. Let's go.
That's funny.
Well, go ahead, because Astro having not Astro, but Babylon having a problem.
No, so I'm just saying like mathematics is logic, right? And we haven't dealt with that. So for man's early existence, yeah, you had to learn. You had to get to the level of science. It took them damn near 350,000 years to get to that. Look how long it took them to get out of Africa. They were stuck. Most people can't even comprehend how large Africa is. You know, most people can't even comprehend 2,500 BCE, which is really, 4,500 years. Most people don't understand how the dating system goes. So if I start saying numbers like 13.7 billion years, you're like, well, how you know all that? Well, it's counterintuitive. It wouldn't seem. And 13.7 billion years for the cosmos, that's forever. What came before that? Well, it's forever. You can't begin. So for instance, if I was to stretch my arm all the way out, right, and at the tip of my finger would be the start of the universe, actually, we would only be to the top of my nail, to the back of my nail at this point. So we, especially humans ain't been around at all, right? We're the youngest species, damn near. That's not a long time. 350,000 years is a twinkling of an eye. You know, the biblical narratives and different creation stories is a twinkling of an eye. So these things have coexisted. They will continue to coexist. And man will have his religion. The problem is when one religion claims to be better than another religion, and then that's the problem, because really religion contains your cultural practices and beliefs and your ancestry. So like if you're Hebrew, you got, you give homage to, it's simply like the Quran and the biblical text is really ancestral worship and adornment, custom and traditions, ideas, the way you see the world. That's what it is. And it becomes personal. In the Nile Valley, they had different religions. Most people think the Nile Valley had like one religion. That's not true. They're making it up. Matter of fact, Christianity, Islam,
and that's a good point. We're going to touch on that one day.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, they didn't have that. There wasn't no book. There wasn't no constant history like that. Like when you go from Genesis, right, and the story of the Israelite, he just didn't have that. That's new. That's new on the landscape. So Christianity, Islam, and Judaism is actually a modification on ancient custom and tradition. And that's a hard thing for people to get.
Question.
You know what I mean?
Timeline. When do you think Africans first left Africa?
Between 60 and 150,000 years ago.
60. You said between 60 and 150,000 years ago.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I was stuck on part of your comment where you said like they were stuck in Africa. It was hard to get out of Africa, and then you were saying that 3,000 years ago they didn't know about other land masses, but 150,000 years ago they left Africa.
Yeah. So okay. So first of all, we at a different level, right?
The Israelites didn't know. People.
No. I'm not talking about the Israelites. I'm just talking about Africans in general.
So we at a different level, though. So it's gonna be hard for me and you and everybody listening to erase everything they know at this point. So you like everybody on this panel, everybody listening is like a damn walking computer at this point. So if we were to time travel back in time, we would actually blow them away. That's not saying that we're smarter. See, that's what everybody make the mistake to think that we're smart. It's not that. It's that we have been around long enough to learn a little more things. Simple as that. It's time. So the point I want to make here is essential, right? Human beings were stuck in a damn bathroom for 350,000 years, and I'm giving you the house as a reference. When they make it out the bathroom, that means you just got out of Africa. You just walked into the Levant some damn where, around Saudi Arabia. And then you run to that first migration failed, right? They came back in. then they left again. All right. By the time you get out, by the time you hit Asia and walk to India and all that, now you starting to, you walking down the damn steps. Okay? You walking down steps. By the time you get to North America, listen to what I'm saying, now you've explored your whole goddamn house. So the question is, they didn't have a map. There wasn't any roads, right? They were following the migrations. Now, what migrations were they following? Remember, we was hunter-gatherers, okay? And so human beings followed the herbivores, those who eat the grasses. And when the grasses dried up, right, based off of weather change and climate events, right, then the herds would search for grass. When they find it, they would settle. Now, the carnivores have to follow the herbivores because the carnivores eat the herbivores and the herbivores eat the grasses. Well, who follows the carnivores? The omnivores, the humans. The humans follow the omnivores. The omnivores follow the carnivores, and the carnivores follow the herbivores, and the herbivores follow the grasses. So it wasn't no planned trip nowhere. It wasn't no map. As a matter of fact, human beings had to even invent clothing before they even got out of Africa. Because weather starts at 2-3 degrees is a big ass difference. Might not seem like it, but it is. So they wasn't even in Europe. Too damn cold. You feel me? We have to look at it like that. Like they just walked out. That's not what happened. They didn't. Watch this. They didn't even know they left Africa. How about that? That's real. They didn't know that.
They was following the food, huh? They was following the food.
Simple. Following the food. Weather change.
Right.
Tribe start fighting. Okay,
yeah.
all kinds. But it wasn't like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go over here. There wasn't no over here. As a matter of fact, when they end up in North America, you got to realize that during ice ages, the water is sucked up into ice. And so these areas are exposed, like Australia. That bridge from Africa, like the Australia, that was exposed because of ice ages. The Bering Strait, look up the Bering Strait, that's exposed. So these people were like trapped on one side for a couple years, right? And when the ice age comes, now that area is exposed. You know what I'm saying? And now they can walk over. It ain't like they know it, though. They don't know why it's there. You talking about 3, 4, 5,000 years of being in one place, and slowly the water recedes and this land starts to get exposed, and they walk over. So we talking about geological time. So most people can't even get that. So the human story is the greatest story on earth, bro. And man has tried to explain to their religion, and man, developed religion, and man developed science. Science is one of the best tools to understand, the natural world, and religion is the best way to understand the supernatural world. So you can pick and choose what you want. I choose to go with the natural world.
Oh, two things.
Can I get in? Just
Okay.
Go ahead. He can get in.
Yeah, bro. I can't pronounce his name. Okay, yeah. Astro, that's Astro. He laid back. Go ahead, Babylon Dub.
Hey, JJ, you remember the other day you was talking about how Khufu was the renovator of the pyramids and he wasn't really the builder?
That's true. That is absolute fact. Yes, I did say that, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. One thing I want to point out is that everybody seems to talk.
He ran to Jehudi for that debate. He didn't want to smoke with me, but yes, go ahead.
Thanks. Everybody seems to overlook the fact that the pyramids are still right there. Now, they could date the pyramids to Khufu, or we could date the pyramids to the real date more than 10,000 years ago. That's argumented. However, what I want to point out is that while people were still wearing sackcloth and in the caves, the pyramids was being built. So to say that there's no technology, even in the Bible, or no science in the Bible, that's a lie. Because I could turn to 1 King. Yeah, I could turn to 1 King 7:23, and JJ please pull this up on 1 King 7:23. And no scientist on the earth right now could tell us the dimensions of that bowl that Solomon made, that Hiram made for Solomon. 1 King 7:23. Pull it up. If y'all doing the math and y'all know about pi, y'all into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, pull up 1 King 7:23 and explain that since ain't no science in the Bible.
Well, see, they ain't ready for that type of high-level information. See, there's high-level information in the Bible that just need to be decoded by some of these guys, man. We gotta sit down and do baby steps with them so they can understand. That's all.
But look at
right now they just misinformed. Go ahead.
JJ, look at the dimensions on Noah's Ark, though. They use the dimensions. They use the dimensions of Noah's Ark right now in order to build what you call seafaring ships. The dimensions of Noah's Ark. Any scientist will tell you that the dimensions of that ark are so perfect that they use them to even set up railroads as well as shipping vessels, freight liners, military ships, all type of stuff is based on the dimensions, upscaled and downscaled dimensions of Noah's Ark. Now, this is a fact. So to say no science is in the Bible is a lie.
Hey, Dunn, can I ask you a question? Is that possible?
Go ahead, brother.
Hold on, before you ask me, this is one of our top debaters over here, so I'm just letting you know, tread lightly.
Man, come on, yo. I'm saying, so what science, though? Since it's in the Bible, what science? What makes something science?
The measurement of a ship, the building of a shipping vessel, of the size of the ark. Like I said, we could pull it up in Genesis and we could read the dimensions. Then we could go to any shipping company on the internet and look at their schematics, and we'll find out they either upscale or downscale the dimensions of Noah's Ark. The same way they do with the pyramid. To say that there's no mathematics in the Bible, watch it. The Ark of the Covenant is 4 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet. The sarcophagus in the King's Chamber is 4 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet. Stop. We have the mathematics. It's in the Bible. You haven't read it, and you just not privy to that level of information. Like you said, it's metaphysical to you. But however, when we look at the physical dimensions of the ark, we come up with mathematics, and we can build that boat today. We look at Khufu's ship. They just built a new museum in Egypt for the boat of what they call Khufu. That boat weighed 200 tons, I think. Stop, bro. That's science. That's mathematics. Before any white man brought about an Empire State Building, the pyramids was already built. Before they built Dubai and all of that, the pyramids was already built, the tallest buildings in the world. And they still maintain the most elegant and the most beautiful and the last of the 7 wonders or 9 wonders standing in the whole world. So you just got to stand corrected that alchemy, when we say chemistry, when we say chemicals, we say chemists. And when we do that, we're not playing word games. We could trace the word alchemy back to black magic. We could trace the word chemistry back to black magical Egypt. So we know that alchemy plays a big role in chemistry today. We can look at the symbols of ancient Egypt. We can look at the fallopian tube. We can look at the thyroid gland. We can look at the thalamus gland. We can look at the brain and the temple of man. All this has been studied. Look up the temple of man. You'll see every organ in the body and everything related to the body laid out in the form of a temple. So we was doing this. We was putting a man on earth in the body of a building. We was putting the stars on earth in the body of a building. We got the cording of the temple. When we take 13 knots and we tie them together and we can measure all the way to outer space, triangulating. We have this science. The people of Judah and Israel, they built Solomon's temple. Look up the dimensions of Solomon's temple in 1 Kings, and you won't find nothing but mathematics. And y'all can't figure it out. Right now, the Jews trying to figure out how to build the temple of Solomon and how to put that bowl together and how to complete the temple.
So yeah. So do you want to answer my question though? Hold on, you didn't answer my question. You flim-flammed everybody.
Okay, what's the question?
I'm gonna ask you again. I'm gonna ask you again. What is science? You start talking about mathematics. Mathematics.
I didn't hear that question. What is science? What is science?
Yes, since you claim science is in the Bible. Hold on. Since you're claiming science is in the Bible, then I'm saying you don't know what science is. That's what I'm saying. Science don't pop out of nowhere.
I'm saying that every time we say that the Most High is omniscient, we say all-seeing and all-knowing. Science means to seek to know. So if we have an omniscient, a seeking, a all-seeing and all-knowing being, then we recognize seeking and observation, because that's what science is, observation. So we recognize that. So what are you talking about? We recognize
I'm talking about, hold on. I'm saying, if God is all knowing, if God, look, since we know God is all knowing, done.
Science means to seek to know. Just so you know, I'm answering your question, and you can't pull no flim flam. Science means to seek to know. That's what science is. Seeking to know, based on observation and experiment. Seeking to know. Go ahead.
Hey, done. So you're right. Science doesn't claim to know anything, but God knows everything. So God is definitely past science, done. So why would you even lower the level of God to science? That makes no sense to me. Science is a human endeavor. And for something to be scientific, it has to follow a scientific method. So you cannot have science for the scientific method. That's my point. God knows everything. Science doesn't claim to know anything, bro. Anybody on this channel know that? That cuss me off. Come on, man. I don't know that. You right. Science doesn't claim to know everything. As a matter of fact, science is counterintuitive. I'm really not expecting you to get it done. I really don't. So I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not saying we're arguing, but I'm not going to spend too much time when you weren't able to answer the question. You mix science and math, and you forgot what makes something scientific is that it follows the rigors of the scientific method. That's what makes it scientific. Not because it's in the Bible. That's something different.
And I just said, you can brag on all you want, and I just said the schematics of the pyramid, the schematics, the method for building, the schematics for building, the method for building the Ark of the Covenant, the schematics, the method for building the bowl in Solomon's Temple, 1 Kings 7:23. All of that is following a method. I told you that they retrofitted every chip they got to the dimensions and the scale of Noah's Ark. Selling it up or selling it down.
Listen, I'm not arguing with you about Noah's Ark. I'm not
going to play the argument.
Hey, Babylon, done. Hold on for 1 second. We got somebody to join the panel. Real quick, I'll let y'all get back in. We got the Lions Den Intercontinental Champion in the building. I'm talking about Zion War Child. You understand me? You know, this guy ain't no joke. He once beat up a roster. What was that dude, man? Hey, he was a Romanian roster over there on Ump Channel. Go ahead. Unmute your mic, family.
Yo, enough respect to the panel. You know who it is? The most hated, the most underrated. You know what I'm saying? The Smusher head, Smushinator. I'm your Smusher man, baby. Watch your mouth, fix your face, watch what you say to me. You know what I mean? I just popped in here. I see what's going on. Babylon done. You still don't want that smoke, though. It's all good. 87K, big love to Queen Karima and everybody on the panel. You know what it is.
So let me ask you something, man. Do you think that there's science in the Bible?
Yes, I do. I do believe that there is science in the Bible. However, the Bible is not a science book.
Right.
But if you can extrapolate truths from they tell you straight up that even in law, you can extrapolate truth from somebody who's trying to tell a lie. Now, when you're dealing with old world thinking, when you're dealing with oral traditions, you're dealing with cultural ideas, what you'll find is that there is more truth to it than most people think. And it will be on a scientific level and on a socio-cultural and historical level. You'll find that those traditions will still uphold certain truths, regardless of whether you believe in the stories of the Great Flood and people walking on water and splitting seas in half. What you'll find is that there are truths to the story that are historic and can be actually found in historic account.
Well said.
Yeah, for something to be true, it don't gotta be scientific though. I don't know what I'm saying. Like the world existed way longer than science been around. That's crazy to me.
I think there's more science in a Spider-Man comic than in the Bible.
Now see, you make it.
I'm being honest.
You make
these people.
But what about when Jacob? What about when Jacob?
Put it down. It's making you delusional. You got
Yeah, you gotta
I'm
slow that
prescribe
down
you a lower
because we know
THC.
that
You're inhaling too much THC. Probably got you a 32 over there. I'm gonna subscribe you down to a 16. You understand me? Because you're getting a little delusional
Let's
over
go.
there.
Let's go.
You know, I can pull up 100 biblical scientific facts that science is just now catching up to. So the Bible is the purpose of the scientific method is to understand nature so you can understand who the creator is. You see,
science is just observation. So if a human wrote it, of course,
it's not just
if a human wrote it, if a human wrote it, there would have to be science in the Bible.
Then you can get it.
If a human wrote it, there would have to be science in the Bible because he's documenting what he's observing. So it's it's
right.
There isn't any.
Right.
I don't think there's anything so profound in there that we're just. Can you give me an example of what you mean when you say the Bible is catching up to science, or however you say it?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, man. Let me
go ahead, JJ.
I can give you one, JJ.
Go ahead, Babylon.
I'll give you one. In the book of Job, it mentioned the stars Aldebaran, Pleiades, Arcturus, Aish, all these star constellations that ain't got nothing to do with right now. And right now, science used the same exact name. So they catching up to that. That was written more than 2,000, 5,000 years ago, and science just now catching up to it. Y'all act like y'all don't understand this. Hold on, wait, y'all act like y'all don't understand this. Wait, y'all act like y'all don't understand this. In Egypt,
what you say, Don? Hey, Don, slow down. What you say, Don?
You asked him a question, man. I don't want to hear it now.
No, I want to hear what he was saying. You said what? Don, I'm gonna let you talk. I just wanted you said what about what was you saying just now? Just trying to tell what you were saying. You moving fast, brother.
I said in the book of Job, it meant Pleiades, it mentions Arcturus, it mentions Beltagi, it mentions Aish, it mentions a whole bunch of other star constellations, including Sirius and Orion. Now, the same name for those places and the same location of those places, science uses that right now to this day.
Huh?
And that was written before science book, and science is catching up to that. Because Job existed before the scientific method or before scientific literacy, as you know it.
Thank you.
But we know that science.
Appreciate you,
bro. You just
my point.
Okay.
No, you proved my point. You just said it was created before science, and you're right. It wasn't science, done. Thanks a lot. It was the work of God, brother. It was the work of God.
I just want to give one. I don't want to argue, Uncle. I just want to give one more example of what I'm talking about.
You just said it, done. You said that in the book of Job, right? I don't know what the date of the book of Job is. They did all these things. Then you're right, God is all-knowing, and God is definitely more powerful than science, and God predates science, done. So you're right. So anything after that, it's not science, done. It's God. He knows everything. God would know that, done. So why are you trying to make God and science the same thing? It's not done. God doesn't need science to know that in the book of Job, done. Why would you do that, though, done? See, you confusing me now. No,
can I answer the question with Dr. Howard?
You just made the point, done. You said it's in the book before science, done. You said that science is catching up to the book of Job. Okay, yeah, you said science is catching up to the book of Job. So that means there's an environment prior to science that God knows about, and it's taught man. I agree with you, done. It's not science, because it predates science, done. That's my whole point. Appreciate you, brother.
Okay, I'm going to finish saying what I got to say. So when Jacob came and he saw the sheep, and he crossed the sheep with a spotted sheep and a not spotted sheep, that was scientific genetics and grafting and genetic manipulation and GMOing. Those are genetically modified organisms at the point where he makes all of them spotted and they no longer white or just solid black, but now they spotted by putting a certain type of tree in some water and have them drink from the water to change the genetic structure of these animals. That's science, bro. Y'all don't know it, but that's science. And I don't know why you're trying to overlook it.
Okay.
The white man don't have. I'm gonna finish. Let me finish. The white man does not have dibs on the word science, and neither do you. You don't have the right to come on here and tell people what science is, as if you the foremost of scientists. You're a liar. Stop. We can say this science because it's science. It's the definition of science. Stop trying to interrupt me, bro, while I'm talking. You don't know. This nigga crybaby. Oh, you're a crybaby on other people's stuff,
but you made a point. You talk about spotted sheep. Okay, you got me. The spotted sheep.
Conquest?
I want you to.
Is that Conquest?
Yeah. The man talked about spotted sheep. I'm saying if you look at the gray wolf, how old is the gray wolf before it was domesticated? Okay, by way of natural selection. Okay, breeding, and ended up being a damn Doberman pigeon or a Rottweiler. Now, if you want to say that those Stone Age people had science, okay, done, because they sure as hell did it. All the domesticated dogs that we see today come from the gray wolf, bro, thousands and thousands of years ago, before the Bible. So if you want to say they had science, okay, done.
That's a lie. All of the dogs you know today come from the Egyptian dog called a Basenji. That's domesticated dogs. But you go ahead.
Okay, go get that. Go get that done. Don't talk us to death no more. Now you gotta verify that.
I'm gonna verify. Look on the walls of Egypt and you'll see Anubis, and show me a dog older than a picture of Anubis. There you go.
Wild dogs in Africa, regular dogs don't come from wild dogs. That's something totally different. Wild dogs in Africa. That's not the dog that came from the great wolf. They're totally different. You just having fun right now. You think God needs science. Why would God need science? Science is been about human beings. That's crazy to me.
I'm saying that the Egyptians domesticated the cat. I'm saying that we domesticated the dog. We domesticated the cow. Every other animal you know, including the pig. So stop playing, Unc. We already know this stuff. That stuff you're talking about is outdated, and it's for young people that don't know no better. Evolution is trash. Your whole scientific method is trash, and your scientific argument is garbage. And you need to stay away from the Bible, because the real scientist knows that you can't deal with metaphysics, because science is only physics. So you have nothing to say in my realm. Appreciate y'all.
You know what, though? You know what's funny? If science is trash, and if the scientific method is trash, then it's trash. So stop using the trash. Come up with another word then, done. Why the need to use the word? If it's trash, why you use the trash word?
Hold on, one at a time.
Your scientific method is trash. Your scientific literature is trash. Not all of science. You are trash. What you talk about
so
is trash.
I'm right. So I'm trash.
Whoa. Bro, you can't, man, we having a good build and you gonna come over and call the man trash? Come on.
I ain't mad, though. I don't take it personal. Let him
get ruining the show, Babylon. Please don't do that.
No, I ain't gonna get off. I ain't gonna mess the show up. I want everybody to hear this. We're gonna clip this up, done. We definitely gonna
that was a scientific term, JJ. My bad. I ain't trying to do nothing wrong.
You keep interrupting them.
Hey, done. Listen, the scientific method is the scientific method. Science is science, brother.
Hey, Kramer, you have to remove. Whoa, stop for a minute. You have to remove her. This is my show today, bro. All right, bro. If you can't respect me in the panel, you're gonna have to ride out. I ain't for all this. You show us some goddamn sources. Like I got interrupted, to let you go, thinking you finna pull something up, and I can pull something up right now. I'm waiting for it to share the goddamn screen. But you want to sit there and goddamn go back and forth and ain't bringing shit up. Then you want to disrespect me. So let the man speak, please. Everything in a goddamn argument. Thank you.
And so I'm mindful of my time because I want to hear everybody out, and I'm not trying to interrupt nobody because the conversation is important. I'm simply saying most of us was raised as Christians, some of us was raised as Hebrews, and one thing raised as a Christian or Muslim, damn well God usurps science. God don't need science. God don't put that in the box. Science is what I use. God don't say none of that. So if God made man, right, then man made science. So then God predates man and science. So we don't need a Nuwapian version where you glorify science over God. I don't even know why that makes. Why would God need the scientific method? Why would God need a man to tell him how to make anything? God knows everything already before it happens. It's right in the book. It says that. That's part of the belief system. So why is this overemphasizing of science in the biblical text? It's beyond me. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. So what's the name of that domesticated dog in Egypt? I know the Nubians had domesticated dogs done. I know that for sure. And in its own palace. You can see them. What are you talking about, Mr. Dunn?
All right.
Go ahead, I'm finished.
You hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well, you had 45 seconds left.
Yeah, I didn't want to use all that time. I got my point.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and let this brother respond to you, so you don't say I'm not treating you fair. Go ahead and respond to him, brother. You got 2 minutes.
Hey, JJ, you talking to me?
Yes, sir. You got 2 minutes to respond.
Okay, JJ, let's say something, bro. JJ, let's say something, bro. I'm never trying to be disrespectful. I'm at work right now, and that's why I was trying to get a word in edgewise. I was just talking real quick, and I wasn't looking at my phone. My phone was in my pocket. I just seen that y'all got 2 minutes on there. That's what made me look at the phone, because I'm like, damn, what the hell wrong with JJ? But nevertheless, as far as what Unc said, it's a real quick answer. He keeps trying to make like God don't need science. But remember, the Bible and the book, the scriptures, is for man. So the book is divine revelation and information for man. So man would be using it, and man would be calling it science. Man would be observing the things and seeking to know the things that's in the Bible. So there you go. That's the answer to the question. It's not about God. It's not a God book. It's a book for man. Men wrote it.
All right. There we go. You had a minute 37 seconds left, but if you don't need it, we can take it off of there. And I just want to show my screen, and somebody else can show theirs if they want to, share their information. But I don't like doing all that talking. I like to show some stuff on the screen. You know what I mean? Now, it says science has... Oh, let me start from the top. Yeah. You got a full movie out for beginners. 10 of the top scientific facts in the Bible. You see, now we know that science is really catching up to the Bible. It has already been written down thousands of years ago of what it is and what it is. And now science is just they come up with a method to understand nature so they can understand the creator. They want to know what's going on with the creator. So this stuff was already written down by the creator, but at first men thought a certain way. See, it said the Bible is estimated to have been written between 1450 BC and 95 AD. This chart shows scientific facts and principles referred to in the ancient Bible, but not actually discovered by humankind until later down the line. I'm talking about centuries. I'm talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, historical documentation, and word of mouth all confirm the authenticity of the Bible. Since people have no different official knowledge of these scientific facts until more than 1,000 years after the Bible was written, is this scientific proof that the Bible was inspired by the Most High? You see, you're here to learn it today at the Lions Den Academy of Education and Information. It's for free. You see, now it said science has shown the Bible to be correct. Bible has been ahead of science. That's the topic here. It says, let's start with the Bible and what it says, and then we're going to see what the science said then, and then what the science says now. That's how you do your comparative studies, ladies and gentlemen. See, so in Job 26:7, the Most High broke out some information on you a long time ago. He said he hangs the earth on nothing. Science back then said earth held up by elephants and by the Greeks, God's atlas. Now science says earth is surrounded by empty space in its orbits. Okay? Back in Job 38:16 said, have you journeyed to the springs of the sea? Science then, water flows into the ocean only through rivers and rainfall. Now science is catching up It said springs in the oceans were discovered in the 1970s. You see where I'm going with this? I got a whole list of things. I mean, if y'all want to, jump in and say something here and there, I don't want to hog the floor. Any of y'all.
Yeah,
I
I'll say
definitely
something.
do.
Oh,
All
okay.
right, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, we can go through each one of them. Come
Okay,
on.
I'll go. I passed up my turn last time. I was gonna say, I mean, there's science. I'm not a Muslim, but there's science in the Quran. So that doesn't mean I should be a Muslim, or that doesn't make the book true. Or, I mean, I
Wait a
don't
minute.
understand the point of showing this. The people
straw
at
man
that time
argument.
had to not.
Wait a minute, man. It's a straw man argument. What you just
Yeah, I have to
Nobody
object.
never said.
You
Nobody
have
never
to
said.
object.
Nobody never said what you just said. Say that over again so we can see the straw
Okay.
man in you.
I said there's science in the Quran. I could show you a list of stuff just like this from the Quran.
Right, because the Quran is based upon the Bible. That's why I objected, because that would be a fallacy argument. The whole entire Quran is based on the Bible. And if we're saying that the Bible has scientific proof or substance to it, then the Quran would obviously have it too, since it's based on the Bible.
Let me come from a different angle then. If I can show you them talking
Yeah,
about
do that.
mRNA in ancient Egyptian texts, then what does that mean?
That means somebody made it up and they lying.
Does that mean go
they
to a
lying.
Jabari shrine? You see what I'm
They
saying?
lying.
I would have to object to that too,
Okay,
because
actual projection. Well, I mean, it's not our fault.
yeah,
That
let me
scientific.
go ahead.
I'm just saying. Hold on. Let me say 3 seconds. It's not our fault. Man is catching up to what the Most High has written down in stone. Telling you.
Okay, I can agree to that. I can agree to that. More than I agree to the other thing. I can definitely agree to that. That God predate man. I can agree to that. And all the knowledge and wisdom come from God. I can agree to that.
Well, go ahead.
But don't trick me with the science thing, because I study science all the way in.
Okay.
I'm all the way in.
Right.
Did you study this in your Bible class when you was a youngin'? How about this? 2 Samuel 22:16 and Jonah 2:6. It says the ocean floor contains deep valleys and mountains. Now science then said ocean floors are soon flat. But then when they finally caught up, ocean floor contains deep valleys and mountains. How did the Most High know this?
I don't know,
He sent the scientific team out to figure it out. No. It's because he was the creator of this. He been telling you.
There you go. There you go, JJ. See?
So you don't believe that prior to the Bible that they had a body of knowledge?
We ain't talking about other stuff. We only talk about science and Bible right now. Stick to the Bible.
That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about science. You don't think that they had science?
Can I say something?
You don't think that they had science back then? You don't think that they were observing things?
We can talk about that later. Let's just do the comparison on this. We can talk about everything else later. We gonna line these two up.
We're lining it up for him right now. How come you ain't addressing nothing that we come from the Bible, from Job to 2 Samuel?
I'm with you.
I was holding.
Hold up. This is real scientific. Let me just read this one. When dealing with diseases, wash your hands with running water. That's in Leviticus 15:11. See, these idiots used to put the water in a bowl and just wash their hands, and then call themselves doing some goddamn surgery on somebody. See, science then did not understand the importance of washing with running water, but now science look, washing with running water critical to washing off bacteria. See, the Most High been telling you this. If you had your Bible back then, you goddamn heathens might have would have figured it out. But I ain't talking about nobody out here.
Man, you should have given me email at 9:45.
So can I respond to what the brother Astral Projections had said about the comedic thing?
Get another blunt, Astro, but you
Yeah, I'm rolling up right now.
He gonna need that. He gonna need that L right now. He gonna need that L right now. So so one of the things, if nobody else is speaking, one of the things that you brought up comedic, and what you don't realize is that all of these schools of thought are coming from the Nile Valley traditions. Judaism, Kemetic knowledge, Islam, all of these things are based off of the Kemetic, or not. I wouldn't even say Kemetic, because I'll even go further back into Kush and into Nubia, where even the Kemetic explanations of history and their folklore and oral traditions actually originated prior to Kemetic, the Kemetic, what we call Kemet, and their knowledge. So one of the things that you're going to see that's always consistent is like the flood story. You're going to see certain stories that are always consistent, even in all Nile Valley traditions contain them, and that includes Judaism.
Yeah,
So if you're gonna try to dissect Judaism away from Kemet, always remember that Moses learned all of the ways of the Egyptians. Always remember that all of these people, even prior to the first king on the planet, according to the scriptures, was Nimrod, who was a son of Cush. We're talking about the Cushite Empire. We're talking about Nile Valley traditions. We're talking about our ancestors who actually had a different scientific view of the universe, even in that time. That is now catching up to us now.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. Everything you said. I don't know if you thought we disagreed. Everything you said is exactly what I agree with. I think they had a body of work back then, a body of knowledge that they considered to be science. I don't know if they called it science. I don't know, how far the name goes back, but they were definitely observing things, and they knew if you do this, you can make fire. If you mix these things together, this will happen. However we define it today,
Right.
I think it's just innate and natural for the human person to be inquisitive and learn like that. So I think that from the beginning of time we've had science.
Right, I'll agree with you on that.
Let's go to the next one,
absolutely.
y'all. Let's go to the next one. Can y'all hear me? Because they're not dealing with none of this stuff that's going on in the Bible. I don't understand why we're not talking about this. So let's quarantining. See, the Most High already knew how to teach the people to separate from people who got these different things going on with their bodies, and they can spread stuff to you. You see, quarantine was burying human waste. See, Hipscot, an antibacterial agent. That's in Leviticus 13:45 and 46. Deuteronomy 23:12 and 13. See, if you had your Bible back then, you understand some of these meshes. See, science then, right? They did not understand the need for sanitary practices, e.g., the bubonic plague. You see, now science is critical to minimizing the spread of disease. You see, if you would have had your Bible back then, you know this. But you was a rebellious people. The Most High been telling you these things forever, and now you're catching up. How about this one? Air has weight. Job been telling you this in Job 28:25. Guess what science used to say? Astral projection. What do you think they used to say? What do you think they used to say? Astral projection. Can you read the science then, please, sir?
Which part do you want me to read?
I want you to read this. Matter of fact, I want you to read the science then part.
For quarantining, which part?
Air has weight. I'm gonna say
air has weight.
Science
then it says air weightless. I mean, anybody writing a book should put that in there. I would hope.
You said what?
Uncle Wes, you read the science now part. What did that say?
It's saying that science is lagging behind God. What more you want me to say?
All right. Well, you said wasn't no scientific.
But see, that's making the assumption that actually is the word of God and not the word of man. I think man had that knowledge.
I'm not making no assumption. I'm just right there with JJ. I'm following them, and I'm making a point. I'm making a clear point, right? Why would God need signs? Y'all keep messing that up. I'm trying to figure out omnipresent, omnipotent.
He don't need.
Right. Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
That's not our point, because God is the scientist. He's the master. He's the master.
Why he gotta be the scientist? Why can't he just be the creator of all things? Why we gotta keep adding that word?
Okay, we can say that.
Right. That's the whole point I'm making right now.
All right.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Now hold on. How about this, y'all? The number of stars is uncountable. That's in Jeremiah 32, 33, and 22. Now, science then, look. They say, that there are 1,022 stars, y'all. Now, this is ridiculous. Now, science says it's 10 to the 22nd power stars. That's over 10 million, millions of stars. You see?
In our perceivable. In our perceivable galaxy, in our universe, we don't even count all of the stars that we cannot see because we can't see them.
Right. I mean, I can take. You know, let me just show you this little quick video, real quick, of some of the top 10 scientific facts in the Bible. We can always stop the video, and talk about it. You know, we take baby steps with you guys. Cause I know you ain't biblically literate, not scientific literate, biblically literate. You know,
But can I say something real quick?
So you ain't biblically literate. You know, so let's go ahead and see how this go.
Man, y'all make science more important. Y'all
disclaimer.
Come on, man. Tell me if y'all can hear that. Let me turn it up. This is very important. And this is gonna touch your heart.
Law Lion Team.
No longer day Lions in the Academy.
At a time when it was believed that the earth sat on a large animal or on a giant, 1500 years before Christ, the Bible spoke of the earth's free float in space. He hangs the earth on nothing. Okay? Science didn't discover that the earth hangs until 650, 3,000 years later. Encyclopedia documents that in 1945, a young doctor in Dr. Semmelweis was horrified by women who gave birth in hospitals. As many as 30% died after childbirth. Semmelweis that would examine go straight to the next ward and examine expectant mothers. This was more practice because the presence of microscopists was unknown. Semmelweis insisted that doctors wash their hands. When they did that, the rate immediately dropped down to 2%. It gives to the Hebrew nation over 3,000 years ago when it comes to dealing with disease. And when he who has
let's exclude the small heads.
Discharge, then he shall count from.
It's messing up.
Yo, JJ, make sure you put a disclaimer. Disregard those white fake Jews.
Oh, okay, yeah. Kareem already played.
Those should have been niggas in that picture.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you know they whitewash stuff. We know that. We know they do that. All right, let's get it.
Himself 7 days.
Oh, well, Unc West, come on back in here now. Don't be running off.
For his cleansing, wash his clothes, and bathe his body in running water. Then.
But Unc did agree with me. He said that God don't need science. He said he did say that.
He shall be clean. Nowadays, doctors wash their hands in running water.
See?
But it wasn't too long ago that they did so in a bowl of still water,
right?
Leaving invisible germs on their hands.
Now, see, if you would have had your Bible, then you would have already figured it out, these doctors. But they want to lean on their own understanding. Because now they God. See, a lot of these doctors, they think they God. They play God. Uh-oh. Information in the blood, Leviticus 17:11.
Leviticus 17 verse 11 says, For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I've given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement. Most of us don't think too much.
That's Old Testament. That's a message for y'all. The blood is what makes atonement. Remember that.
About the fact that a doctor can find out the health of our flesh by taking a sample of our blood. But the test can evaluate the health of our kidneys, our liver, thyroid, and heart. Among other things, the blood can reveal diseases and conditions such as cancer, AIDS, diabetes, anemia, and coronary heart disease. However, the great biological truth about blood revealing the health of our flesh wasn't fully comprehended until comparatively recent years. Up until 120 years ago, people were bled and died because of the practice.
See? Now, if they would have had their Bible, they would have been listening.
When George Washington became deathly sick, doctors thought that bloodletting would help him, but it didn't.
Drain.
All told, his doctors took out about 80 ounces of blood over 12 hours.
Now look at that, man. Y'all see this?
Which is about 40% of an adult's blood.
Damn.
Nowadays,
Poor George.
People give them
Give him transfuse.
Place it or blood gives life to the flesh. More than
Blood gives life to the flesh.
1,000 years before, the Bible stated this recently discovered biological truth: for the life of the flesh is in the blood.
The Bible real, man. I don't know what these dudes talking about.
Oops.
We say oops. Go back up, Wes.
The scriptures tell us that the earth is round. Isaiah 40:22 says, "It is he who sits above the circle of the earth." The word translated circle is the Hebrew word chud, which is also translated circle or compass, depending on the context. That is, it indicates something spherical, rounded, or arched, not something that's
Spherical.
square.
I said this
The
to.
book of Isaiah was
Come on
written
now.
sometime between 740 and 680 BC. Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, theorized the earth was round by watching the masts of ships sink down over the horizon, and from his studies of the moon during an eclipse. He noted that the shadow of the earth on the moon revealed that the earth was curved. He could have saved himself a lot of study if he had read the Bible, which stated that fact 300 years earlier.
Where's Takari Dawson? Where's Takari? Where's Takari at right now?
Yeah, leave the Corey alone.
I said this.
No,
Coog
you can
and
find some
Gagal.
French stuff in there, man. Hey,
Gagal and Coog. Khug and
this is
Gagal
debatable right
are the
here,
two
y'all.
words used for the circumference of the earth, and it denotes a spherical planet.
Yes, sir.
Y'all funny. All right, let's keep it moving on this one. This is debatable right here, y'all. Let's go.
It was another 2,000 years later, at a time when many in science believed that the earth was flat, that the scriptures inspired Christopher Columbus to sail around the world.
Equality. Who know your mathematics? Go ahead and press that play.
Look, oceanography, y'all. See, we was ahead of our time.
Matthew Murray is considered the father of oceanography.
See, he ain't no goddamn father. We already talked about it.
Notice the expression, the paths of the sea, in Psalm 8, verse 8, written 2,800 years ago. And he said, there are paths in the sea, I'm going to find them. Murray then took God's word and went looking for these paths, and we are indebted to his discovery of warm and cold continental currents. His book on oceanography remains a basic text on the subject and is still used in universities.
You got light waves and radio waves. You see?
In the book of
He's
Job,
telling you about the light waves and radio waves in Job 38 and 35. We've been told you about this. You guys see the easiest thing, the best way to hide something from a black man is in a book. A lot of these guys don't like the Bible. All the information is in here. We've been trying to tell you.
Come on, preach. Come on, preach to the
chapter
choir.
38, verse 45,
I'm gonna get my organ out here in a minute.
God asked Job a very strange question back in 1500 BC. He asked, "Can you send out lightnings that they may go and say to you, 'Here we are'?" This says that light can be sent and then manifest itself in speech. But did you know that all electromagnetic radiation from radio waves to X-rays travels at the speed of light? This is why we can have instantaneous wireless communication with someone on the other side of the earth. The fact that light could be sent and then manifest itself in speech wasn't discovered by science till 1864, 3,300 years later, when British scientist James Clerk Maxwell suggested that electricity and light waves were two forms of the same thing. Genesis chapter 2 verse 1 says,
Now we're finna hit you with the first law of thermodynamics, everybody. See, we ain't playing around with y'all.
"Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished." Everything is finished. Nature is complete. The brilliance of the light-giving sun is finished. The blue skies are finished. The clouds drop their rain, cleansing the air and giving life to earth. The tall trees are finished, giving us oxygen to breathe. The rivers are finished, teach and filling our great oceans with water. The land is finished, yielding plants that give us food to eat. Nothing has a half-evolved eye or ear or leg or brain. It's all finished. From the animals to man to winged birds to the beauty and fragrance of a rose that blossoms to God's glory and for our pleasure. Nothing is evolving. Everything is finished, just as the Bible says.
Fifth dimensions. This is exactly what Babylon done brought out. The fifth dimensions. See? We already been ahead of y'all.
In Genesis chapter 6, God gave Noah the dimensions of the 1.5 million cubic foot ark he was to build. It's interesting to note that in 1993, a scientific study was conducted by the South Korean World-Class Ship Research Center. They compared 12 hulls of different shapes and discovered that no modern design outperformed the biblical model. The length of the ark was 6 times its width and 10 times its height. Many contemporary ships are built with similar proportions, although the length to breadth ratio is usually chosen with regard to the power required to move them through the water. The ark needed only to keep afloat. In Leviticus 13, verse 46, the Bible speaks of quarantine long before medical science discovered the importance of isolating those with infectious diseases. In 1490 BC, it gives instructions on what to do if someone has leprosy. He shall be unclean. All the days that he has the sore, he shall be unclean. He is unclean.
Why did it take scientists a while to catch up to this, y'all? You gotta ask yourself that.
clean, and he shall dwell alone. His dwelling shall be outside the camp. Laws of quarantine were not instigated by modern man until the 17th century. The devastating Black Death of the 14th century.
As a matter of fact, we need to see Kemet. We need to see Kemet teaching stuff like this. Show us y'all books and stuff talking about stuff like this.
I can. No, but I say, yeah, I can speak on when it comes to Kemet science, but I'll just let you finish.
I would like. Hey, you know what? Hey, more power to you if you can show it. Great, we all learning.
Yeah.
Right now, hey, the Bible winning because y'all ain't showed us nothing.
But one thing I
Took an
won't
estimated
agree with,
17 million lives. This was because they failed to separate the sick from the healthy. When whole families fell ill, it was attributed to bad air. However, putting into practice the ordinances of quarantine laid out in Scripture would have saved millions of lives.
What Kemetic book can I find this here? Sorry.
What we talking that what he talking about in the video?
Yeah, right here, right now. Yeah.
No, I don't think you're gonna find that that specific type of information in Kemetic scriptures like that, like word for word. But what I was saying, I'm just letting you finish with the video, because you can learn something from everything, really.
Right. Okay. If anybody had that information of any Kemetic literature, you're more than welcome to, bring that up about quarantine and oceanography. I mean, I'm sure they might have it. You guys probably just ain't did enough research to, to bust it out. Maybe that's what's going on. Trying to give you the benefit.
I'll say that the Bible sounds more sound in scientific theory than any of the Kemetic, because you got to remember that how they describe things. They describe things with deified characters. So even like creation to them was like saying like Neb and Newt.
True.
Or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was always based around some sexual agitation.
I'll say this real quick.
Hold on, I didn't finish what I was saying, bro.
Okay.
You can't just cut me off. You can't just cut me off. Yeah. So I wasn't gonna be long. I promise you. So at the end of the day, like when you look at even Kemetic science, even though I still agree that 90% of the Bible has a lot of Nile Valley tradition according to it. When you look at how the Egyptians, because I go back to Cush. I'm an Ethiopian Israelite all day, so I go back to Cush. I don't lean. Egypt does not define my understanding of Black knowledge like some of these other cats do. They lean on the white man's love for Kemet. You know what I'm saying? And that dictates how they perceive African knowledge. But you know what I'm saying, like Newt and all of these other deities that they locked into their theories and their belief systems that didn't exist in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And the Bible was a lot more closer to how the descriptions of like planets floating in free space and et cetera, you know what I'm saying, than you know what I'm saying, than the Kemetic paradigm or their descriptions ever described, because they put everything into anthropomorphic characters. Everything was anthropomorphized.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with what you're saying, but let me speak on Kemet, because the Kemetic scriptures and texts have been misunderstood for various reasons. But when it comes to the deities, as how people, to the Kemetic people that practice the occult science, because occult simply means hidden. But for the people that knew what these deities represented, they weren't talking about gods and entities. They were talking about aspects of your spirit. And in various parts of the human brain. But so like the Netaru, like Heru, like it was a conceptual model for a whole bunch of stuff. So and so like all right, so the Kemetic scientists or alchemists or whatever you want to call them back then, when they were doing their observation of the world and stuff, they understand that humans shared a lot in common with animals. And how can they put this body of knowledge together that other people later day can come into it and understand what they was trying to say or convey? So they observe animals and realize that certain behaviors that animals exhibit, human beings also exhibit them same behaviors. And they were studying astrology and doing different kinds of sciences. So and they were trying to put that body of work into the Medinetter or whatever you want to call it. And so people thinking that they were deities or they were worshiping them as gods and stuff, but really they were talking about human anatomy and physiology and different aspects of the human spirit that and how things work from their understanding. So it was a scientific thing than how it's been misunderstood as something as God, and and that wasn't their understanding of it. I'm saying, and
Okay, I would have to. I agree. I agree partially to what you're saying. However, I will object on certain grounds because at the end of the day, you had people who would literally go to their graves with their servants, what I'm saying, believing that they were going to the afterlife. So there wasn't much of a distinction between how they viewed the deities, what I'm saying, and how they viewed the universe in that time. When you're going back to like the third and first, second, and third dynastic periods of Kemet, they were serious about this stuff. They believed that those deities existed, and if you violated one of them, you violated them all. Okay, we see that in the laws of Ma'at, right? So the problem is what you're saying has to do with how uh, modern day Kemetic science and those who are in Kemetic knowledge view things as symbolic. However, I can go back to the pyramids to show you that they weren't believing that this stuff was just symbolic. Otherwise, they wouldn't have took people as they were living to their graves with them to go to the underworld. They believed that the underworld existed. They believed that the scales of Ma'at existed. They believed that if you did not practice, what I'm saying, the laws of Ma'at and this, that, and the other, your heart would be weighed upon the scales of Ma'at according to the feather, and you were not going to make it. That I can show
all right,
you
let me
thousands and thousands of references
all right, let
of
me
proof. Wait, hold on,
interpret.
bro. Can I finish my statement?
Yeah,
I
you
didn't.
can.
Come on. So at the end of the day, if you look at the evidence of what they did, even in their death and burial rituals, what I'm saying, which goes to the book of coming forth by day and by night. I don't like to call it the book of the dead because that's European crap, right? So book of coming forth by day and by night. They were serious about that stuff, bro. If you was a servant to some pharaoh, bro, you was getting buried alive. You gonna get your brains pulled out of your skull if you was gonna get mummified. The whole nine, bro. They were serious about that. They believed it to be true. It wasn't oh, this is symbolic. No, they didn't do that. We do that now. Oh, yeah, they believed it to be symbolic. No. That's not how they believed it. Otherwise, you wouldn't see so many carcasses underneath them daggone pyramids. People who are living, who are going on with their masters and with their pharaohs to the afterlife if they didn't believe it was literal. And that's why I object.
Shalom, brother JJ 7000, Sister Karima, peace to you. Go ahead, brother. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. Oh, me? Okay. So, let me explain what this whole he was saying the underworld from the occult understanding was a representation of the subconscious mind. It's the bottomless pit or whatever you want to call it. But I think a lot of the stories and the symbology just got misinterpreted to mean as literal things, even though people at that time may have misinterpreted it too, because the occult community of Kemet was very small, and still the traditions survive in today in many different occult societies today. But the understanding was the weighing of the heart was from the understanding that whenever someone goes into their their subconscious mind or a mentor or whatever, at every time when when so the whole idea was that when you die or you return you go in the spirit world or whatever,
I got a
and your
question when
heart.
you get done.
Those I think a lot of the brothers that pump Kemet, they really don't even study Kemet. That's what be the problem with a lot of them dudes that claim that they rep Kemet. I don't think types like Chris Harris's and Garfield's and Unc West's. They don't study Kemet or anything like that. Well, I don't think Unc West claims it, but
I,
them brothers, they don't even study Kemet. Like for instance, you have the Leviathan in the text of the Hebrew Bible, and it's described as a monster that is submerged underwater, and that is akin to the subconscious or the crocodile that we saw in the Kemetic sciences that submerge below waters, dealing with the subconscious mind. To speak to what you just to what you just said, that's more so the issue, that brothers don't even really study Kemet, and
yeah,
then the weighing of the heart. Often we see in scripture, in the Hebrew scripture, that the Most High judged the man most certainly from the condition of his heart, and we see kind of like similar motifs in Kemet. I look at it as all not one system, but the systems were very closely related to one
Con,
another. When we really know the systems.
yeah, I'll agree with
I agree.
what you're saying.
Hold up, y'all. I apologize. We got somebody else on the panel, Brother Florida Dying. Been quiet for a while. Go ahead and introduce yourself, families, and to
Shalom.
the bill. Go ahead, Aki. Shalom.
Shalom. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Con.
got a question for the brother that was saying the true occult meanings. Where can we find those written by the people of Kemet where they gave those explanations?
You talking about you was
Oh,
talking to me, or who you was talking to?
Talking to
The,
Alman Arnetter.
the
Okay.
brother that was talking about like the lower mind means this. Like, where do we find that in where the people of
Yeah.
Kemet?
That's a
you gotta the people, some people, to get this understanding back in the day, had to be initiated into the temple by the priest. So you had, just like how like how you have regular civilization, you got different people at different stages in their spiritual
Right.
evolution and growth.
Right. What I'm
So
saying is,
not
how do we get
everybody
that
was
knowledge?
privy to the occult interpretation of the scripture. So it wasn't something that was public and available to everybody. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, I'm not saying I'm claiming Kemet or all that stuff. Because our understanding is that we all uses different sources of information to grow as a person, as an individual. But what I'm saying is that I don't like how Kemet been portrayed as like as if it never contained sciences and certain truths in it. And I think a lot of it was misinterpreted. So
Let me
from
clear
my
my
studies in the
let me
occult
clear up my
side of
question.
it, I'm just saying, just giving the occult view of this whole thing so that people can have something else to like add to whatever they already had before. You know what I'm
So
saying?
have you been initiated to receive this occult knowledge?
Not in any specific occult traditions.
So how did you get it?
Right.
From practicing occult, from doing studying different occult literature, grimoires, and practicing. You know what I'm saying? Then it come to the understanding, because at the end of the day, the whole idea of spirituality, what we're trying to achieve, is to reunite ourselves with the divine. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be through the Christian tradition or any tradition, that's universal amongst all tradition. And there's
So
always an
so
exoteric um interpretation, and there's always an occult interpretation of pretty much every scripture.
So
Because
if I
not
take
so
if I take on
what
if
you're
I go
essentially
and
saying,
learn
go,
any
go ahead,
occult
go ahead, Op.
if I go and learn any occult practice,
mhm,
does that give me the immediate understanding of this Kemetic science?
immediate
Good
understanding of this.
question.
What the way you're breaking down what the weighing of the scales and all that means? You wasn't initiated as a Kemetic priest, but you studied some different type of occult practice, correct?
Yes,
So is that what you studied from that different occult practice? Is that what gave you the understanding of the Kemetic science?
because through the law of, if you study occult and literature from different tradition, you will realize that there's many correspondence to the deities or whatever they talking. So you don't have to, because the only thing that changed was the names and the face of the deities. You know what I'm saying? But the general understanding is the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, like for example, like Yoruba, they have Eshu, or the way opener, Apwat, and Kemet, and various tradition, Pan, and all these deities. Because mythology, there's similarities amongst all mythologies, but it all comes down to the science of self-realization and uniting with the divine. That's really what it comes down to. So you don't really have to like I have to get the specific word for word saying from the Kemetic scriptures. You can look through various mythology. If you know what you're looking for or know what it's all about, you pretty much can see the whole science coming together. I'm saying? So but what can we take from Kemet? Because I believe Kemet was just a phase, and just, but it's not the end of all of everything. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot to learn from Kemet when it comes to self and spiritual development. Like for example, using words of power um to develop certain areas of dormant intelligences within the brain. You know what I'm saying? Like the power of sound, to invoke but the deities that they were talking about were real, like entities. I don't know
That's what
how
I want to
people,
know. How did you come up to that conclusion?
how did I come up? By practicing and studying occult literature. So we already know that all right, like for example, let me just give it like this. If you ever seen like the Kabbalah's Tree of Life, where if
Yeah,
you're familiar with the Kabbalah, and you have the whole thing going down to the 10th spirit Geb, you know,
yeah.
that's a common thing, but amongst all different tradition. But the Netaru um um is like, they represented different stages of your spiritual development. So like your first stage of spiritual development or would have been like at the 10th spirit and you climbing up the tree of life, going back to unite with divine consciousness. Because at the end of the day, we are all divine beings having a human experience. You know what I'm saying? So that's been the whole understanding. And throughout scripture, encoded in it is certain formulas to acquire certain rituals to acquire certain self knowledge, you know. But in order for us to get to that self knowledge, we have to get rid of the personalities, and the personalities are conceptualized in the various deities and the Netarus and all that stuff, or mythology. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many names for them.
All right, so let me, because I know somebody else want to get on. My last question. So all these deities, they weren't real. They were just personifications or whatever.
Yeah,
But
from the occult
right,
understand.
the people of Kemet say writing was given to them by Thoth.
Oh,
If that,
thought.
if
So
hold on, if that isn't true and Thoth is just a principle, where is the true history of how they obtained their writing?
okay, let me tell you what
Wait,
thought is. Thought was the understand is your intuition from the occult understanding. Thought is an aspect of, or Tehuti, or whatever you want to call it, is an
Right.
aspect of your spirit that allows you to know everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's a faculty within your spirit that you can develop, that allows you that works through your intuition. So there
So
are
they taught
certain
themselves
requirements.
basically. So they're saying they taught themselves basically.
Because everything that's scientifical or every information was first intuited through thought or tehuti or so. But that's just a conceptualization of your intuition, and a faculty within your spirit that helps you. Because when you're trying to know something, you're trying to experience the reality itself. And oftentimes when we try to know something, we use representations, and through the representation, we don't directly experience the reality we're trying to get to.
Right.
So
So
if
what I'm saying, what is the truth behind that? Like, what, was there a man that actually taught them how to write, or
no thought from the occult interpretation represented an aspect of your spirit that you can develop um at a certain stage in your spiritual development, where you
correct?
can directly know, because we're divine beings, and and we're made in God's image. So we
Right.
ultimately,
I get that part. I understand that it's just all within yourself, but what is the actual truth of where they got their writing from?
you talking to earth, the like I don't
That's
understand.
an excellent question.
They
Oh,
give.
all right. So I'm saying, like, um occult science ain't begun with Kemet. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, it never started with occult science. Never started with Kemet.
Mm.
But when the Kemet was trying to put occult science together, what thought really represented it was not a deity or something, or a physical being, or our entity. Represented your aspect of your spirit within you, because all the deities that they talking about is within you as the individual. You know what I'm saying? It ain't an entity living outside of you. So it's a different and they use the animals' heads and stuff to try to convey the information that it's in your brain, kind of. You know what I'm saying? So but thought, because, like, the human body is a complex thing, made up of different intelligences and stuff that carry out all the functions and stuff. And then what the Kemetic people was trying to do is saying, like, all right, we ain't got the whole thing together yet, but how can we share what we discovered so far. And in order to share that, they use conceptual models. And they say, like, all right, people, when they get to a certain level of understanding, they can look, observe the animals and stuff, and see that there's certain things like when thought being represented as the swan or the bird
The
standing on the
ibis bird.
water stuff
Ibis bird.
with
I think we kind of get stuck because y'all want to say they're not
The
real.
ibis bird. Ibis bird.
yeah,
Just
the
for
The
ibis
ibis
bird.
bird.
But the bird standing on water was trying to tell people that in order for your intuition to function properly, you got to be at a state of peace. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like in a state of deep meditation.
right. What I'm
That's
saying is all this trouble you going through trying to explain
I
this. Now,
disagree. I disagree. I don't. Yeah, I
Let me
don't
now
say
hold
think
on.
that
something.
that's what they
Now watch
meant by
this.
it then.
The-
So it's
right.
easy for
Now
us
watch
to try
this.
to look back at it and give this narrative and give this this narrative this
Right.
this narrative now, you know what I'm saying, to try and exalt, you know what I'm saying, the people of that day. But they were pulling people's brains out of their freaking heads while they were still alive.
Hey,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it
Like they
was.
literally
Let's
Right. Now,
let's
come
get
on,
back
like
to the
come on.
video
Let
though
that
for a minute, man. Let's
yeah,
get
go
back to
ahead.
yeah, let's not romanticize what they did, even in the first, second, and third.
When
They
did they
didn't do
do
all of
that
that. They
though?
wouldn't
Yeah,
simply
when did
have
they do that? I need some
symbolized
When
it.
did
It
they?
wasn't
documentation on that.
symbolic.
Yeah, I don't.
It was
I
literal.
study
Wait,
It was
Kemet.
wait.
I'm a
literal.
Muslim,
Um,
but I
If
study Kemet.
I ask the
I never
Imhotep
saw that.
subjects, y'all would tell me Imhotep was a real
well,
person.
they took the brains out during the mummification somehow.
Yeah,
Right, right,
that
yeah.
was
right.
after death, though. That
All
was
right,
after death.
The
all right. Yes,
wrapping of the pot.
okay. Look, we're on
The
the
pot
last one,
is the
y'all.
body. Go
We're
ahead,
on the
brother.
yeah, we're on the last one. Let's see. Let's see what they said. We even told you about dinosaurs and woolly mammoths. See, we was way ahead of our time. But you guys didn't want to open up.
In Job 40, verse 15, God himself speaks to Job of a creature he created called Behemoth. Some Bible commentators believe this creature is a hippopotamus, as does this particular commentator. Behold now Behemoth, which I made with you. He eats grass as an ox. Lo, his strength is at his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong pieces of glass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He who made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lies under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him. Behold, he drinks up a river. He hastens not. He trusts that he can draw up unto his mouth. He takes it with his eyes. His nose pierces through sneers. Science can only speculate as to why the dinosaur disappeared. But the answer may be in this passage of Scripture. As we have seen, some commentators think this is a reference to the hippopotamus. However, one of the characteristics of this massive animal was that it had a tail that is likened to a cedar, which is a very large tree. Clearly, the hippopotamus doesn't qualify. Here are the characteristics of this animal. It was the largest of all the creatures that God had made. It was plant-eating, that is, herbivorous. It had its strength in its hips, and a tail like a large tree. It had very strong bones, lived among the trees, drank massive amounts of water, and was not disturbed by a raging.
What animal would that be describing? Astral projection. Tail the size of a damn cedar tree. See, we
Right.
didn't know about that. You guys ain't ready.
Well, you believe in dinosaurs?
That's right, man.
You believe in dinosaurs, JJ?
Hey man, this was some creature running
Yeah,
around
I believe
here.
in dinosaurs too.
Yeah,
Everybody out
dinosaurs
here
existed.
believes in dinosaurs.
yeah, I believe in
I
the
believe in dinosaurs.
I just want to do. I need to do a poll real quick. Can we keep going? Who else believes in
almost over.
dinosaurs?
Yeah. I think
You're-
anybody who has a rational mind should believe in dinosaurs, since you got the periodic table of you know what I'm saying.
I
Come
didn't say
on,
they.
man.
I didn't say they don't exist. I just want to see where everybody stands on this.
Okay, all right, yeah. See, so
All right,
some of us
He
are
that
still
made
rational.
him can make his sword approach unto him. It would seem that God had caused this, the largest of all the creatures he had made, to become extinct. Do you believe the Bible?
Man, I've been there.
Would it make any difference to you if I told you the Bible is full of scientific and medical facts written thousands of years before man discovered them? It speaks of the earth's free float in space. It says, the book of Job, the earth hangs upon nothing. It says in the book of
Nothing.
Isaiah, he that sits upon the circle of the earth, that speaks of quarantining.
Somebody say something? Okay.
Thousands of
Keep
years
going.
before we discovered it. It speaks of washing hands under running water when dealing with disease. Wouldn't that open your heart to it at least? You know what the problem is? It's not intellectual, it's moral. The reason we don't like the Bible is because it accuses us of being morally irresponsible.
I don't believe Bible, Torah, Quran, none of them. The Bible, as much as I study, is not scientific. It's all theoretical by a bunch of people they did in, but scientifically there is nothing in the Bible. The Jews' Bible, which is Torah or Quran, there is no scientific in it. All theoretical.
In the book of Leviticus, it speaks of the life of the flesh being in the blood. We didn't discover that until just recently, that your blood carries information about your flesh. Your blood tells your doctor all about your body. That was written in the Bible 3,000 years ago. That shows the Bible's supernatural in origin. There's many scientific and medical facts in the Bible. Great bones that are like brass. It's speaking of a dinosaur, it seems. And it says, he that made him can make a sword approach to him, which speaks of God making the dinosaur extinct. Have you ever read the Bible, Joshua?
How did they make it extinct? A big meteor about a half mile hit the earth.
All the dinosaurs were standing in a little group and it got hit. They got hit by a meteor.
Yeah, that's the way if we get hit right now, we're all going to go too.
So the nothing that created everything was actually something?
Exactly. Nothing came from the Big Bang and then we are here.
Oscar, do you believe the Bible?
No, but yes, but I don't think you should take it in a very literal sense.
Can you be specific? You mean Jesus didn't literally rise from the dead, or God didn't literally create the earth in 6 days? What do you mean?
No, I don't believe that Jesus rose from the dead.
Juan, do you believe the Bible?
Not particularly, no.
Do you think there are mistakes in the Bible?
I think there are mistakes in the Bible.
Do you think of any?
Well, it's written over 3,500 years ago, so a lot of translation issues might have occurred.
Do you think God could have preserved his word? You know, if you pass a note to someone, it might change as they pass it on to someone, or a message. But if the person goes with the message, it's not going to change. And God has preserved his word. When I've been reading the Bible every years, and I have found no mistake in the Bible. I found seeming contradictions, but the mistakes have been my mistake. I just haven't understood something. The Bible's supernatural in origin. Do you know it contains scientific facts written thousands of years before man discovered them? Did you know that?
I do not. What scientific facts would they be?
The book of Isaiah says the earth hangs upon nothing. It speaks of the earth's free float in space. The book of Leviticus says the life of the flesh is in the blood. If you go see a doctor and you give him your blood, he can tell you how your flesh is doing because it contains information. We didn't discover that until recent years. They used to bloodlet people 100 years ago, thinking it, or 150 years ago, thinking it would do them good. Now we put blood into people because we know the life of your flesh is in your blood. So if you face God on Judgment Day and He judges you by the 10 Commandments with four of them, you're going to be innocent or guilty.
That'll be pretty guilty.
You go to heaven or hell.
I don't know.
The Bible says
to decide.
He's already told us all liars will have their part in the lake of fire. No thief, no blasphemer, no adulterer will inherit the kingdom of God. So what are you going to do on Judgment Day? How are you going to justify yourself? Now, do you think I'm telling the truth, or do you think I'm lying?
You know, you believe in what you believe in. I choose not to believe in.
So what part don't you believe that I've spoken about? I'm telling you, your beliefs matter. If you're walking along a path and you believe the path is safe, you'll just keep going. But if you believe there's a landmine right in front of you, you'll go around it. So beliefs do govern your actions. And if you believe God's like a dumb idol that doesn't care about justice or truth, you're going to stay in your sin. You'll end up in hell. This is so serious.
Now the dude is getting a little Jehovah's Witness from me, but I agree. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what he said because you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's pretty basic information that the Bible actually brought out long before. You know what I'm saying. Science verified these facts. So at the end of the day, what we're left with is a clear understanding that people who practiced Bible and practiced Torah had probably a clearer understanding of things than most of the people who were surrounding them. Who thought that their planet was on the back of a turtle and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's pretty obvious. There are many things within the scriptures that are supported by science even now today. However, you got a lot of people who are not, privy to that knowledge. And I'm not saying that anybody's condemned. I honestly believe that you're condemned by your works and your behavior. You know what I'm saying? I don't think God is judging anybody based, especially with all of the religious confusion and confounding that there is today. I think God is weighing more people's hearts upon the scale of righteousness and moral in a moral compass than anything. People are gonna be, given that opportunity. I don't think God is a nasty being where you don't worship me and you don't kiss my butt, you going to hell. I don't believe in that God. I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in that God? That's the God that's written about, though. So
yeah, well, man's hands have been in a lot of places. That has nothing to do with the price of a can of beans in Botswana or Bosra.
Well, how do you vet your sources to pick and choose which scriptures that you do want to follow and which ones you don't?
Well, here's the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, the Bible does say that in Christ there is no condemnation, right? And it also says that, what I'm saying, it talks about forgiveness. It talks about, if you go even to Numbers chapter 30, whereas in many scriptures they talk about divorcement and stuff like that in a very negative light, you see that a woman can make a vow, even being stupid. She can make a stupid vow. It says, what was the word that they used in there in Numbers 30? They said if she makes a vow in so basically she was making a vow when she didn't really mean it, but the vow would still stand, and she would still be forgiven for making a stupid vow that she didn't even mean to make out of her lips. So when we go back to the Old Testament, you'll see that there's a lot of forgiveness that's going on there, especially in Numbers 30. Number 30 has so much loose ends that even Jesus himself and Paul in the New Testament couldn't argue against, nor could they substantiate, because they were like, yo, listen, man, you sleep with some man's wife, you know what I'm saying, you're going to hell, right? But what does it say in Numbers 30? it said what comes from her lips and the vows that she makes from her lips would stand if her husband or her father did not, or they held their peace, she'd still be forgiven. So we see a lot of this stuff going on in the scriptures throughout the Old Testament, even before Yeshua came in the scene. You know what I'm saying? And this is where a lot of my OT only heads, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of, I give them a lot of respect because at the end of the day, in many places, there wasn't a need for an intercessor.
Okay, let me ask you
You know
again
what I'm
really
saying? Because
let me
God already
ask you
covered it.
again really quickly. How do you vet your sources so that way you can pick and choose which Bible verses you follow and which ones you don't? Again, go ahead.
All right. So what I don't do is I really don't pick and choose, but you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, so I read the scriptures. There are scriptures that are you know what I'm saying, that seem to contradict other scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And with that,
So
then I have
you're
to be
admitting the
left with the
contradictions in the
question.
Bible? Is that what you're doing right
I
now?
believe you. Come on, B. If JJ and 7,000 will tell
Uh-oh,
you,
JJ,
I
you
was an
hear that?
atheist. Hold on, brother. Let me explain myself. So I was an atheist when I came in here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I was an atheist for over 7 years when I came into the Lion's Den. Now, I was an Israelite before, you know what I'm saying, before I fell from faith, but it was God that brought me back to faith. It was God, it was God. And when I say it was God, it was no man that brought me back to faith. It was God who showed me his good favor in some of the things that I was dealing with life that brought me back to faith. Now,
Well, you
so
said though
when I
that you
so
don't
when I
believe in a
deal with this,
certain God of the Bible, correct?
no. What I don't believe in is man's errors in the Bible, and we know that man has his hands in the scriptures. Are the scriptures inspired by God? Yes. Are the scriptures the word of God? I would say no.
I'm trying to figure something
They're,
out,
they're
and
the
you're
words of men.
completely not answering my question. I'm trying to figure out how
So,
do you vet
so
your
ask
sources to figure out what was the hands of man. So because in this video that he just played, the guy kept
right,
saying God protected his word. He went with his word. Um,
right, right.
so
But
that would be
but if
false.
you
And that, I
remember,
guess, and I'm asking you,
right.
how do you know I'm not following that? That was written by some man.
Right. Okay. So here's the issue. When something seems to be too human and too stiff necked and seems to be too judgmental, I don't believe that's God. I believe that's man's hands. So if you remember what I said in the beginning of when I first came back in after brother JJ 7,000 finished playing the video, I said that dude seemed to be coming off rather, you know what I'm saying, rather like a Mormon or a Jehovah's Witness. It's like he's coming off, you know what I'm saying, proselytizing instead of actually, you know. So what I do is I look at what grace and mercy is about. So
Okay.
that's how I vet my sources, because God comes with grace and he comes with mercy.
So some
He is
major points, something
gracious.
like
He is merciful. He is merciful. And when you see that in the Old Testament, you'll see that also in the New Testament. That's how I vet my sources. So when I see anything in the scriptures that doesn't seem like it has mercy or doesn't have grace in it, that's man's will and not God's. That's the only way
how do
I
you
can
feel
say it, but
about
I'm
the
not gonna.
past? How do you feel about the Passover? It's coming up
I practice the
April 5th.
Passover. Why not? Why
Do you
not?
feel
Why
like
wouldn't I
God
practice it?
showed mercy?
Yeah,
There.
I do. I actually do, because at the end of the day, he gave opportunity for Pharaoh and for those people who were withholding his people from being free. That he gave them an opportunity, and when they did not take the opportunity because of their own vain lust and their own desire for glory, he started slapping people up,
Did
and
he
that's what
give
they get. You
did he
listen. You
give
get what you
them an
give. If you
opportunity?
if you're not giving no mercy, you're gonna get no mercy.
He gave every firstborn an opportunity, or did he give Pharaoh an opportunity?
No, because you got to remember that everybody was judged based in those times, especially in the Old Testament. People bore the sins of their fathers back then, and even down to the third and fourth generation. So yeah, them
And
kids
but
got
so
slapped the fuck up because
that's
excuse my
mercy
language,
to you?
because they fathers did not act in accordance to God's will. Yes, unfortunately, but God is so merciful that, you know, even those children still saw heaven. still saw heaven because they were without sin personally, but the sins of their father was upon their head, so they died physically. See, God doesn't see death like we see death. We see death according to the flesh as something permanent, but God doesn't see death according to that fleshly thing. We're not bound to the flesh according to God's perception. So we have to understand that we're dealing with a Dunning-Kruger effect when we try to perceive how God views death. We're going to die, but God does not die. So that's the problem.
All right, let's get
You're
back
going to
to
be mad because some babies died, but those babies got eternal life. I don't care what you say.
All right, John. Let's get back to the science.
That's not mercy, though.
All right, hold up, brother. I'm gonna let y'all get back in. Karima, can you do me a favor? We'll just over and change the title to this. Is there science in the Bible? And then we'll come back later and do the presentation for Cube. Cube going in. All right, let's just go to it. See, this is 101 scientific things you need to know that the Bible kind of explains to the people. But we don't have to go through all of them. We're just gonna go through a couple more. The Bible talks about pest control in Leviticus 25, 1 through 24. It said farmers are plagued today with insects, yet the Most High God gave a surefire remedy to control pests centuries ago. Somebody mute their mic, please. Moses commanded Israel to set aside 1 year in 7 when no crops were raised. Insects winter in the stalks of last year's harvest, hatch in the springs, and are perpetuated by laying eggs in the new crop. If the crop is denied 1 year in 7, the pests have nothing to subsist upon, and therefore are controlled. We also deal with soil conservation in Leviticus 23 and 22. Not only was the land to lay fallow every 7th year, but God also instructed farmers to leave the gleanings when reaping their fields and not to reap the corners sides of the fields. This serves several purposes. Vital soil minerals would be maintained. The hedge row would limit the wind erosion. The poor could eat the gleanings. Today, approximately 4 million metric tons of soil are lost to the U.S. crops lands each year. Much of the soil depletion could be avoided if God's commands were followed. All right, let's keep it moving on some more of these. About safe drinking water, 87. And Leviticus. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, JJ, I just said facts. I just said facts on everything you're saying.
Okay, brother. All right. Yeah. Safe drinking water. Leviticus 11, 33 and 36. God forbid drinking from vessels or stagnant water that have been contaminated by coming into contact with a dead animal. It is also in the last 100 years that medical science have learned that contaminated water can cause thyroid and I think it says cholera. And you can visit the first book of public hygiene and modern medicine as Answers in Genesis. How about the one we talked about earlier, the Pleiades and Orion star cluster described in Job 38 and 31. The Pleiades star cluster is gravitationally bound, while the Orion star cluster is loose and disintegrating because the gravity of the cluster is not enough to bind the group together. 4,000 years ago, God asked Job, can you bind the cluster of the Pleiades or loose the belt of Orion? Yet, it is only recently that we realize that the Pleiades is gravitationally bound, but Orion stars are flying apart. You see, the Most High been telling us this. Let's keep it moving. How about atomic fission anticipated? That's in 2 Peter 3, 10 through 12. It says, Scripture states the elements will melt with fervent heat when the earth and the heavens are dissolved by fire. Today we understand that if the elements of the atom are loosened, then there will be an enormous release of heat and energy. It's called radiation. Let's keep it moving. What else we got? Let's see. About this. Olive oil and wine useful on wounds. That's in Luke 10:34. Christ told of a Samaritan man who, when he came upon a wounded traveler, he bandaged him, pouring upon his wounds olive oil and wine. Today we know that wine contains ethanol, alcohol, and traces of methyl alcohol. Both are good disinfectants. Olive oil is also a good disinfectant as well as skin moisturizer, protector, and soothing lotion. This is common knowledge to us today. However, did you know that during the Middle Ages and right into the 20th century, millions died because they did not know how to treat and protect open wounds? See, if you would have had your Bible, you would already knew this. How about this? The Bible speaks of heaven and the highest heavens. That's in Deuteronomy 10:14. Long before the Hubble Space Telescope, Scripture spoke of the heaven of heavens and the third heaven in Kings, 1 Kings 8:27, Corinthians 12:2. We know that the heavens consist of an immediate atmosphere and the vast reaches of outer space, as well as God's wonderful abode. How about God created the lights in heavens for signs and seasons and days and years in Genesis 1:14-16. We now know that a year is a time required for the earth to travel once around the sun. The seasons are caused by the changing position of the earth in relation to the sun. The moon phases follow one another's in clock-like precision. Constituting the lunar calendar, evolution teaches that the cosmos evolved by random chance. The Bible agrees with the observable evidence. I mean, there's so many we can go through. I mean, we've been on here. Let's do a couple more, and then we can get back to it. And then we're going to close the show up. And then if Karima got time later on, we can come back and do the show. That was the original title. I'd like to show that video. This show kind of went into his own, went into his own direction. We started talking about science and Christ and the Bible. So I don't want to call this Outside the Cube Exposed Chris Harris. So I want to change the title of this. All right. So light travels in a path. This is also known in Job 38:19. Light is said to have a way. Hebrew, literally a travel path or road. Until the 17th century, it was believed that light was transmitted instantaneously. We now know that light is a form of energy that travels at 186 miles per second in a straight line. Instead, there's a way of light. You can visit Light Travels in the Path. Was foretold in the Bible hundreds of years before scientists discovered it. You can see that on creationist.org. All right. Let's see what else we got. Animal and plant extinctions explained. Extinction, According to the evolution, occasionally we should witness a new kind of springing into existence, yet this has never been observed. On the contrary, the scripture explains that since the curse on all creation, we deserve death and its extinction. That's in Romans 8:20 and 22. I mean, we could do a whole show on this right here, man, to be honest. Genetic mixing of different seeds for forbidding. That's in Leviticus 19:19 and Deuteronomy 22:9. The Bible warns against mixing seeds, as this will result into inferior or dangerous crop. There's now growing evidence that unnatural genetically engineered crops may be harmful. Okay. It's got incest laws established in Leviticus 18:6. To marry near kin in the ancient world was common, yet beginning about 1500 BC, God forbid these practices. This reason is simple. The genetic mutations resulting from the curse had a cumulative effect. Though Cain could safely marry his sister because the genetic pool was still relatively pure at that time, by Moses that his genetic errors were swelled today. Has swelled. Today, genetics confirm that the risk of passing on the genetic abnormality to your child is much more greater if you marry a close relative, because relatives are more likely to carry the same defective gene if they procreate. Their offspring are more apt to have this defect expressed. And you can visit the Blind Gunman. That's right here where my arrow is. I don't know if y'all see it. All right. What else we got? Second law of thermodynamics is also explained in the Bible in Psalms 102, 25 and 26. This law states that everything in the universe is running down, deteriorating, constantly becoming less and less orderly. Entropy is disorder entered when the mankind rebelled against the Most High, resulting into the curse of Genesis 3:17 and Romans 8:20 and 22. Historically, most people believe the universe was unchangeable, yet modern science verifies that the universe is growing like an old garment. It's just in Hebrews 1 and 11. Evolution directly contradicts this law. And you can visit modern scientific discoveries verifying the scriptures. Also, cosmic evolution, the Big Bang, and the second law of thermodynamics. Black holes and dark matter anticipated. That's in Matthew 25 and 30, Jude 1 and 13, Isaiah 50 and 3. Cosmetologists now speculate that over 98% of the known universe is comprised of dark matter, which dark energy and black holes. A black hole gravitational field. So, somebody mute your mic, please. Can somebody mute your mic, please? A black hole's gravitational field is so strong that nothing, not even light, escapes beyond the expanding universe. There's no measured radiation, and therefore only outer darkness exists. These theories paint a seemingly accurate description of what the Bible calls outer darkness, or the blackness of darkness forever. You can visit dark. I mean, it's so many of them, man. I could do a whole show on it some other time, but time is kind of running out. I'll read one more. The first law of thermodynamics explained. That was in that video. The first law states that's in Genesis 2, 1 and 2. The first law states that the total quantity of energy and matter in the universe is a constant. One form of energy, of matter, may be converted to another, but the total quantity always remains the same. Therefore, the creation is finished. Therefore, the creation is finished, exactly as God says back in Genesis. You see, it's so much in here, man. But let me come up out of this. Stop sharing my screen. We're gonna go ahead. I've been up for 2 hours and 32 minutes. Some people saying we need to shorten up the shows, so we're gonna shorten this one, and then we're gonna come back. Hopefully, Karima, if she can, change the title to this. That there is Bible, there is science in the Bible. We'll call that this one that, and then we'll come back and go in on the anticipated title that we already have, which is "Us Outside the Cube Exposes Christine Harris." Anybody want to get any last words? Go ahead, and then we're gonna go ahead and close up, and hopefully we can come back.
I got a last word, JJ. Maybe I shouldn't have said that evolution was trash. Maybe I should have said what you just said. Evolution contradicts the law.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
No, it doesn't.
Said it that way. Because you just said evolution contradicts the law, JJ. The other thing, I heard a brother say earlier, this on an earlier note though, JJ, they said Egypt was all anthropological. I just want to say, and then I heard another brother mention personification. That's a better term, personification, not anthropomorphic. Because anthropomorphic is just animals and people, or animals with human qualities. But personification is personification of people in nature, called animism. Like Nut is the sky. She's not an animal. So when they say that, and they say that all the Egyptians are just animal worshippers and stuff like that, I just know they really haven't read. Because when we read, JJ, last thing, when we read like Judah be a snake, and such will be a donkey, and Ishmael will be a wild ass of a man, and such will be like this. And we got the four beasts in Revelations. And the Sphinx was four beasts, the same four beasts in the Revelation. The Sphinx was a lion. The Sphinx had wings. The Sphinx had the man of a face and the body of a bull. And that's all four beasts mentioned in the book of Revelation. So I think one of the things we're going to have to do is recognize, like we did with the seal of Hezekiah, that a lot of Judaic things or things of Israel or things of Judah are going to be Egyptian because that's the original place where we from. That's it, JJ. But yeah, great show, man. And don't feel like you need to shorten that up, JJ. I know it be feeling like you're talking a lot, but that video that you just played and that stuff you was playing about science and stuff, man, that's the real deal. That's what the people need to hear, though. I was totally with that 100. So when you're ready to do a show on that, I'm with you.
Yeah, maybe I'll come back and we'll do the whole 101 on that one. We'll do that maybe tomorrow.
You can, bro. I'm telling you, that was very interesting, bro. That was very good knowledge.
We'll see a lot of these scientific guys like astral projection. They need information like that in their life. Ain't that right, young man?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what Babylon Dunn was saying. I think if people read the Egyptian creation story, they would see how this is, the characters were personified. It wasn't literal. But when you do look at it from the angle of like the afterlife story, like it confused me at first until I started studying more Kemetic literature. I'm not repping Kemet because I don't think that's where all the information ends at. I think it's older than Kemet, and they picked up a lot of stuff and adopted a lot of stuff as well. So I'll take a stance on some positions. It just depends on what's going on. But you're not going to see me with the braid like Shaka or coming out in the dashiki or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But like sometimes I'll debate from that angle. It just depends on what position people are taking. If they're saying something that's inaccurate about it, I find myself sticking up for them a lot. But that's only because people are usually ignorant to a lot of the teachings of that shit. So.
Would you agree, though, that Egypt is the height of the civilization, though? Would you agree that the pyramids and all the architecture and all the knowledge and writing?
Let me ask. Okay. But go ahead, Zion. Zion, go ahead. Let me hear your response. Let me hear your response.
Egypt wasn't the height of nothing. Okay, it was what the Europeans have decided because there was some large pyramids over there, you know what I'm saying, that are considered the seventh wonders of the world. That they try to what they call it's a form of supremacy. It's Kemetic or Egyptian supremacy. When you can go back to Sudan and you can go back to Nubia and look back at their traditions and their cultures that actually crossed over into what we consider even modern day Judaism. You know what I'm saying? You want to sit here and worship Kemet when Kemet was overtaken by Alexander the Greek and all of these other cats. Cleopatra was mixed breed, and all of those other situations that came after like the 14th century and stuff like that. I don't put as much emphasis on Egypt as many Negroes do. Negroes love to try to put their face on Egypt, even though white folks was been all up in through that thing like a old bum boot. Ran up in that damn like an old bum shoe. You want to freaking goddamn always try to put Egypt on a pedestal when you had Nubia, you had Kush, you had Ethiopia, you even the west coast of Africa. You had all of these other thriving civilizations that came even before Mesopotamia, but they'll tell you that Mesopotamia is before Egypt and Egypt is the greatest. I don't do that. We don't do that here in Wakanda. We don't do that in Wakanda. We don't do that in Zamunda.
Say that then. I understand that if you feel like these other cultures throughout Africa are being neglected. Say that then. But don't have to shit on Egypt.
That's real though. I'm gonna keep on
you don't have to throw Egypt under the bus. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot to be learned.
Smacked up got smacked up, and Alexander the Greek came up in there and raped all of these women and turned it around. And even to this day, the people who are the natural blood cometics are still at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to class status.
Everybody else who you
Man, look
named,
what happened to
Let me say
Israel,
something
though.
real
That's
quick.
a strong
everyone
argument.
else who you named though
Hold on.
also
Let me say
is
something
got
real
conquered
quick.
as well. So they're no exception to the rule. You're just
Who
choosing not to
didn't get
highlight
who
that
got
as a
conquered?
negative for them.
Ethiopia didn't get conquered.
You were talking about
They got
Nubia.
invaded, but they never
Are
got
the
conquered.
original Nubians still over there? Like, what's their culture? What is their culture like right now?
Original
Have they been
Nubians,
colonized? Like, let's go through this.
Islam has a large power structure. Yeah, my son is over here talking. Listen, you got my
Hey,
son here.
I like it. I
So
love it.
come
I
on,
love
come over here,
it.
young man.
They
Come on.
had a bunch of soldiers with guns and stuff, and yet they still failed to conquer Ethiopia, despite Ethiopia being what was advanced in technology.
Right, with the weapons.
Teach.
So
Fail
teach,
to
This-
invade a place with spears and barefoot with guns.
You hear my boy?
Yeah,
You hear that?
I got no debate for you, young man. You got it, baby. You got
That's
it.
just embarrassing. That's just embarrassing.
You see JJ clapping
You
for
got
you, yo.
it, man.
Yeah,
Hey, I
you know,
took my
I do
first
not
loss right
debate, man.
there.
He always come in
I
dropping.
do
He
not
always
debate.
come in dropping jewels. Y'all don't be knowing that the children be listening, so we gotta watch what we say.
Yeah.
We do. They be listening.
Yeah. He just came in. He just got in from
Come in
school.
and
So
correct.
he just jumped on as soon as he heard what was going on. And he knows a lot about Kemetic, about Egypt. He knows about King Tut. He knows. Listen, this dialogue that I have on here with Judaism and Ethiopia and Egypt and all of that stuff. He listens to that stuff, and then he turns around and he blows my mind because he'll turn around and jump in the middle of the argument with information that I didn't know he was even paying attention to. He listens to all of y'all. And he listens and he takes what everyone, he don't just take what I say. He listens to what y'all say.
Right.
And then he turns around and brings the information back. So
Yeah.
I love him for that because you know what I'm saying he's paying attention, and this is why we got to have a little youth debate league. We're gonna do that, JJ. We're gonna get this thing popping, yo. But yeah. So I have no discrepancies against Kemet. However, we have to remember that Hellenization and stuff began there first, and so you got a lot of European influences. And,
But
go ahead,
Johnny, can I say something? I just want to say this.
Go ahead, bro.
I agree with. Okay, I agree with you, bro. But it seems like you stuck in a paradigm in your view of what a person that studies Kemet is polarized into worship. Like Kemet is not about worship. Nobody ever worships Osiris or Isis. All of that is doctrine that was given to you by other people. Now, as far as what you're saying about Kemet being conquered, I agree with your young guy right there. We were conquered, but so was Israel. And everything rise and everything falls. So Kemet had his time and it failed. But that still doesn't excuse anybody from saying, like, hey, look at the technology of the pyramids. Look at the technology of stone building. Look at the technology of writing. Look at the technology of speaking and having language and building boats and having mathematics and all the things the Egyptians preserved for their posterity, which is us. And then y'all take that because y'all don't like the way the white man view Egypt, and then y'all superimpose that on anybody black that's enjoying the knowledge in Egypt, and then y'all say, oh, you're following the white man. You're just like the white man. The white man called the seven wonders of the world. No, the pyramids is a wonder of the world. Show me another one standing. Show me somebody else with the technology. Show me, I'm saying, deal with the mathematics in the pyramids, dealing with the circumference of the earth and dealing with the distance from the earth to the sun. All of this is encoded in the pyramid as science. So I'm just trying to figure out where else can this be found on the planet Earth, and why you would consider Egypt at the height of a civilization.
Exactly, because the science that they were using at that time was so advanced that it makes the science that's in the Bible look like baby knowledge.
Yeah,
And that's not even trying to be
disagree.
disrespectful to the knowledge that's in there. We can still use it and we should still appreciate it. But it's just like, these people were doing stuff like, man, I digress.
Nah, Yeah, let me just say this real quick. So when you really deal with the science in the Bible, you got to really get down to the Hebrew, right? And when you get down to the Hebrew, what you'll end up doing is you'll end up going into the grammatria, right? The grammatria, and then you get into the mathematics, right? So whereas in the English transliterations of the Bible and the Septuagint and the Latin translations of the Bible, it seems very simple, but if you really sit there and look at the depth of what the scriptures is saying, and even the mathematical equivocations of each letter and each word, and how that there is a Bible code that goes along with this, you'll find that the Bible is far more intricate and complex than what the Eurocentrics have given us. You see, we reading the Bible on a very what do you call it, dead letter translation. How they gave it to us was not how even the small hats read it. They sit there and they deal with the math. They go through all of the scriptures and they break down a scriptural context through the grammatria, through the mathematics. They go into the biblical context. However, when you deal with Kemetic knowledge, you won't see that very much. Although I'm not saying that gematria is not in
when did the
Kemetic,
Hebrew
in the hieroglyphs. I believe that it's in there too, because I believe that at the end of the day, these are all Nile Valley traditions, and in their traditions, they kept the math and they kept certain things secret and hidden from certain minds until they were initiated to a certain level. Same thing with the priests of the Levite priests of Kemet. I mean of the Jews of Israel. So I think the problem is that many of us now we're receiving all of this knowledge about Kemet and the depths of Kemet's knowledge, but we're still trying to look at the Bible from a very skewed and minimized perspective that came from the Greeks and the Latins who wrote the Bible in a certain way, not really digging deeper into or delving deeper into the depths of where the scripture was going, which is no less deep than the Kemetic situation. However, when I deal with those, like the ideologies of the Netaru and stuff like that, you'll see that these things are not necessary.
All right. Hey, y'all, everybody get their last word in, because I want to end this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about Amon Nefer? Did you want to say any last words, brother?
Yeah, I'll agree with what the brother was saying. But in regards to like all the scriptures and stuff, because there's pretty much you can learn. You're always in the you're always a student. You know what I'm saying? So there's always more to learn, and I mean like so the like he's going into like so there's like
So
occult
yeah, mute that
interpretation.
brother.
Hello.
Go.
Mr. Kareem, are you unmute the brother? Because I think brothers are trying to talk and he's just running his.
It's his turn to speak. It's Armand's Nefer's turn to speak.
Yeah, so I was saying,
You can't
people,
hear what you're saying over his recording.
I hear him perfectly, dude. Just be quiet for a minute, and then we can hear it, brother. You messing up his final word.
okay, so like with mythology, whether from whatever tradition they want to come from, whether it's Christianity or Judaism or whatever, but in mythology there's always more to mythology than what lies on the surface. So there's always science in the Kemetic scriptures and also the Bible or whatever text. You know, it's just that we haven't got to the level where we are unlocking that knowledge that been hidden. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I had to say.
Sister Marie, you got anything you want to say?
Well, Well, I'll just add that I do agree with Zion that Egypt isn't the pinnacle of knowledge. Like if you study Egypt, a lot of knowledge came from the Pygmies and from, they say, like Thoth, who came from Atlantis, you know. So we should be studying and trying to see what we can find from there as well, because
Right.
knowledge is acquired, you know. It doesn't start and end with them. It's just like
Right.
it's just where a lot of it is left that we can study. So that's why it's being put on
Right.
the pedestal the way it is. It's, you know, every civilization in Africa was great to me. You know what I'm saying? None was higher than the other, but this is just where we can get a lot of science from, where we can get a lot of everything from. So that's why
Right.
it's like the
Right.
hub
I
for
agree with that.
everybody to go. You know, it's the hub for everybody to go study.
Right. And you got to remember too, you
At
know,
least for me.
Alexander the Greek was supposed to have destroyed the libraries of Alexandria. We don't know how many texts and how many written, you know what I'm saying, oratorical, you know what I'm saying, books and scrolls that were encompassed in that so-called library. Although there's some people who will say that the library was fictitious. I don't believe it was fictitious, but I can't substantiate that. However, at the end of the day, if there's this historical record of a library being burned and torn to the ground, and all those that like one of the earliest universities, you know what I'm saying, within Kemet being destroyed at this time when Hellenization was coming in, how much do we not know? How much of the information, even about Israel, even about Nubia, even about Kemet, even about Ethiopia and Kush, you know what I'm saying, all those texts that could have been stored in these in those, you know what I'm saying, sacred places of study don't exist anymore, or they're in the Vatican. You know what I'm saying? Like
Or they're in the
we already know
Vatican.
the whole Vatican, right?
And that's why I feel like we're lagging behind in technology compared to what they were doing back then. I don't feel like we're
Oh
ahead
yeah.
or more advanced than them. Like I don't know if
No,
anybody
we're
set up the
lagging
debate,
behind
you
because
know.
we're having to start over. We're having to
Yeah,
start over because if you remember, in culturally speaking, what we're doing now is we're trying to come to an understanding of who we are, and that's usually done before somebody reaches their rites of passage, which is usually at 13 years old. So a lot of us are going back through identifying who we are in our late adulthood, when we should have had this already pinned down when we was 13 or 14 years old, and been moving on to our purpose and how we are supposed to effectively service our community and our people and our social group, right? And so you see that with Europeans, you see that with the Irish, you see that with the Jews, with the small hats, you see that with the Arabs, you see that they're going through these still developmental processes with their children, and the children are becoming effectively more adaptive and pro-adaptive to their communities. However, you know what I'm saying, here we are, and I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm pushing 50, and we're still over here trying to identify who we are as a people. When I should have known this when I was 13 years old. That's the problem. That's why they call us boy, because we're still children if we don't know our identity.
I agree.
I rest.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. We're going to get up out of here. Thank y'all for participating. Everybody who came on the panel, the people in the audience, to support the channel. You see the Cash App up there. You know, throw a couple $, Sister Karima's Cash App. This is a full-time job. 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s are accepted, but also 10s, 20s, 30s, and 40s. You know what I'm saying? If you want to add 50 cents, throw 50 cents in there, but it goes to a greater cause for upgrading the platform and for other things, man. You know, this is a full-time job. With that being said, Karima, can we get up out of here with a song?
What's the Cash App? What's the Cash App?
It's right at the top. It's either Black Beauty Inc. or you can send it to Jeremiah Judah. It's right at the top of the screen. Yep. Hit that Cash App. Support the channel. So we bringing out to you this good information, man. And also, man, I know a lot of people been quiet lately about the tournament. I don't know, man. All these guys are signed up and talking, but hey, it takes money to do things. And like I say, it's just a $30 entry fee. But everybody talking, but ain't nobody putting on no entry fee. So I don't know when this tournament is gonna jump about. It might not even happen. I might just have to just get back to setting up debates with people, man. You know, not me per se. I'm talking about, matching up. I don't know. But I was looking forward to it. It would have been nice to have that tournament. To benefit everybody. I ain't giving up on it yet. I probably have a meeting with Black Jesus Minister today and 2 other people that want to bring team members. So, just for the people that signed up with me, my link is also in the chat. Just send in your entry fee. So, with that being said, we're going to get up out of here.
Thank you.
We're going to get up out of here, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to let Q go in on, what's his name? Christine Harris. So let's get up out of here with the song Queen, and peace and blessing, man. I love y'all.
I think Eric want to go on. And, yeah. And thank you, Eric.
What's going on, Kramer? Eric, he had a show planned? If so, if Eric got a show, y'all come back and see his show, and then we'll just do Q's show, first thing in the morning or whatever. We'll squeeze it in, Q.
No, yeah, Eric's show usually be short, so.
Yeah, we can do that. So, like I said, support the channel. Hit that like, share, subscribe. I see that there's a bunch of us in here, but the likes is a little low. We need the likes to go up so we can get into the algorithms. That being said, peace and blessings. Kramer, whenever you're ready to play the song, we are out. Oh Lord, Kyle, you came in here late, brother. I'm gonna do a show on science in the Bible, and you and I can hang out about it, bro. But yeah, you late. Damn, I wish you would have been here. Yeah, he's super late.
Subscribe to my channel, y'all. Subscribe to my channel. I'm looking for
like-
trolls. I'm looking for
Let me
trolls.
subscribe, Astro.
Where's
That's
the
you.
link?
Yeah, it's
I'm in.
Hold up,
you
Zion.
can just type in Astro Projections 369.
No, you got a wrench, brother. You got a wrench.
Oh, I got a link. I do got a link. We in the back chat.
Yeah,
okay.
You got a wrench. Put your. Anybody that want people to go to the
Yeah, put
chat,
that link up in there.
You put your link. You can share your
I'm
link
looking for people to
in the
debate,
chat.
talk shit.
Yeah,
I am right now. I didn't realize what was going on.
There you
Give
go.
me 30 seconds.
I was too busy.
Share it in the regular chat or the private chat?
He told me.
Share it in the private chat or the regular chat?
No,
Put it in the regular chat
the
so I can
regular
grab
chat,
it.
for the
You know what?
Got
Put it
you,
in the
got
private.
you.
Put it in the private
I'll do
too.
both. I'll do both.
Yeah, put it in both.
There you go. Yeah, and Kyle talking about he was too busy doing real science.
Oh, I
Okay.
can't put it in the regular ones, can I?
Who said that?
Brother, don't you have a wrench in the audience? Don't you have a wrench?
What's a
I
wrench?
got a wrench.
If you have a wrench, you can share links to the audience. You can share sources or reference. That's why we give people wrenches, not to be like, I got a wrench and I'm over you. No, it's to share your information.
Oh, I didn't know what that wrench was for. So yeah, okay. You gave me one last week. I didn't know what was going on.
That's what they're for. That's what they're
Okay.
for. The wrenches.
Yeah, you moderator.
That.
Yeah, because I was
Over on
asking.
other channels, just to bully people. Now over here, reason why we give wrenches, we want people to share.
I'm looking like they made me a moderator. I thought you made me a moderator. I'm like, I just
That's what
got
it
here.
is. That's
Yeah,
what
it is. It is.
Good looking, though. Good looking.
The chat.
have a
Yeah, you
wrench.
moderating the
We
chat.
can't talk together. We can sing, but we can't talk. Go ahead and explain it to him, Zion, since you want to tell him, brother. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you got that wrench that you can share your information. If
Right.
if you got people in there in the chat talking about I am the Messiah and Mississippi is Israel, you know what I'm saying? You can smush them, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying, yo.
Oh, that's dope. I'm about to look at it. Okay, yeah, I dropped the link on both sides.
All right.
You know, we try to stay on topic here, you know what I'm saying? Like people be in the chat talking about other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the price of a can of beans and Boulder. You know what I'm saying? And we trying to stay focused, man. We
Good
trying to get
build
these
today.
lessons
Good
and
build
this
today.
knowledge in.
You got Cube coming on later?
Well,
Cube coming on like.
Well, me and him did a show the other night.
Oh, you about to replay it and break it down?
Yeah. But we're gonna let Eric Mad Scientist, he's coming on next. We're gonna let him do his show, and then depending on the time and what I got scheduled, we'll come back on after Eric. Eric's shows don't usually last about an hour and a half.
All right, I'm out of here, gentlemen. Have a good day.
I got some things I need to bring out too. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm fun about it, and I'm not boring. So you know what I'm saying. Y'all remember me when I'm ready to come out and drop some gifts and some jewels. All right.
Yeah, are you an Israelite?
I'm an Ethiopic Israelite. That means I'm a Rastafari. I'm a Rastafarian.
I don't even know. Okay.
Thank
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
but okay.
so back in 1920s, the Ethiopian Zionists, you know what I'm saying, Jews in Harlem and et cetera, they were the ones who actually sparked what is called now the Rastafarian movement, and that started in Harlem. It didn't start in Jamaica, like everybody tries to tell you. It started in Harlem, New York.
Right. All right, so look, so we got to get up out of here. And look, hey, I am part of the show too. Y'all can hit my Cash App with ones or twos. I like a couple of dollars as well. I do put in hard work. I mean, don't school JJ. God damn. What the hell? You know? What's up,
Thank
man?
you, Astro.
Yeah,
No problem.
I want to say thank you to somebody. But anyway, we love y'all, man. We will be back. Eric Mack Science is one of our top researchers around here, man. So y'all come back for a special treat. Also, man, I am gonna get this tournament going, man. Even if y'all don't want to put the money, I'll come up with some money for some people.
Oh, wait. What's the tournament for? It's a
30. Well, I was trying to get 32-man tournament. The winner was gonna get $700.
For debate?
Yeah, for debating.
Debating.
You need 30 people to get started though.
32. I mean, we can do it's a tournament, bro.
No, I understand.
Well, we might could bust it down to 16. But when I had 16 people, then they were like, "Oh, hey, I want to join. I want to join." They probably just did that because they knew the 16.
Right. And when you say 32, then nobody want to jump in.
Yeah. So
I'll jump in. So
are you gonna jump in?
Yeah, I'll send you $30.
Well, send it to my. You see my Cash App, Kareem?
Yeah, how long is it gonna take you to get the rest of these people? That's all.
Well, we trying to get it before the end. What's this? What's the next month? March. By the end of March, we want to have everything set up.
Yeah, yours is pinned to the top. Both of them is pinned to the top.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to. I really want.
JJ, you saw that brother Jeremiah. He trying to do his own thing now, right?
Oh, I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem. I seen him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. Like, but you know, I mean, I don't know why he didn't just stay the course. You know what I'm saying, with us, as opposed to trying to, you know what I'm saying, start a whole separate situation. I don't know where that came from.
Well,
he's trying to do a whole nother situation.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing bad about him. You know, I love the brother. We just
I love.
No, I'm just saying we don't see.
Even though, yeah.
Just let me say this. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye, and you know, the growth and development of this channel is going a different direction than how he want to do his. You know, we allow women to debate. You know, and I just leave it at that. All right, so let's get up out of here with a song, everybody. Sister Nanny will be in the tournament, so I know y'all scared. I know you're scared. Some of these guys, man, you better get your act together because Sister Nanny is on your neck. Let's get up out of here, Queen, and we will be back as soon as possible.
I'll praise you, Most High. Yeah, that sound good, y'all. Hello. What we doing?
Hey, cook that up, Khalid.
We still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, finches hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, finches hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still. They said you got the call, they trying to blackball you. play what they own, bro. You can't blackball a boss. The whole world, they hate Israel. The way you hate your neighbor, might as well pull the trigger on yourself. You know we get excited by the smoke. Every day we casting flesh. Say my treasure stored in heaven, we gon' blow the rest. They disrespecting and we check the bank that causing kept it still. They asking others about my business, but I ain't got no instant miss. See, I still deal with ox direct. Cause your person don't mean you respect. Your outlet don't get no credit if the ox ain't in it. Money answer all things and you got all these questions. Playing Vic. Look, I employ slavery. I'll give you broke your head. Yeah, them crews in the hood, Jews in the hood. I caught them clues, now I'm good. I broke it down, he understood my all to you. Filtered through, you found a few, I'm good. We what we sold, this here exclusive. They like, hey, folk, look what you doing. We still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still. Most I told me, be still, give a room to work. Know my movie work. Your faith ain't good, don't put the work in. In the spirit flexing, that my day job. Getting the mode out my own, I don't know what they are. Before I got the blueprint, and I'm too legit to quit. Let it spark in the dark, be a light, got it lit. Trying to map my movement, got my haters pondering. The odds set the question there, they wanna know if you still lit. It hit different, you authentic, a lot of odds pretending. We do it for the Lord, got my own motion, who are you to judge? The most high first, none above. Tap in the spirit, we locked in, they'll come against your plot. You know Judas said, yeah, we spit them scripts, they bailing out. Came on slave ships, then you not black. You know they tell you everything. Isaiah 30:20, yeah, we bad. You see what happened when they tried to rail the train up off the track. False witness, hypocrite. We throw shots back, now they feel hit. Must go get it. We still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Fuck this here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still.